Yeah, just getting this penis into position. This little robot penis. There we go.
That's an interesting out of context clip there. All right, and and
No, you guys, no.
That's your intro.
Don't you just hate when your hair parts like at a weird angle and it makes it seem like you're balding? That's an issue I deal with every video.
people love to talk about the true underdog forehead.
Do they? Oh, great.
Oh wait, you don't know that? I thought that was a pretty big meme on your channel.
It's a 5-head. It's a 5-head.
The 5
so
head.
Clear.
There you go. There you go.
I do have a big forehead, but it looks normal in person. I think it's just because I learned back in college that cameras, not just phone cameras, but most cameras have a particular focal length to make your face look slimmer. So it makes everyone look more flattering. But what that also does is make what's closer to the camera look like prioritized. So it gives when it's above me like this, it gives me a bigger forehead.
Ah,
So
I see.
It's unfortunate.
See if I can get the big forehead.
You know what sucks too is apparently at one point, at least in Europe, if you look at old paintings, portraits, it was very glorified to have a big forehead back then. So I was born in the wrong time period. God damn it! If I was born back then, I'd have been a sexy motherfucker.
I mean, come on. Over here, we had a very famous queen who famously had a gigantic forehead that she painted white with lead, I think.
Oh, very interesting. Yeah,
I forget if it's Elizabeth the First or if it's one of the Marys or something, or Victoria's. I'm not really familiar with a lot of the monarchs, to be honest. But that was a thing.
Yeah.
My monarch game is lacking. I don't know all of them.
The what was it called? I think history has a lot of different beauty standards. One of the more famous ones is I don't know, back in ancient China, it's the 4 most beautiful women are extremely fat. So I think that the more fat you are, the more beautiful you are back then too. It's very interesting stuff.
It was.
It was like that I think in the Renaissance era, where being broader was a sign of childbearing hips and such.
Ah, yeah. Or there's a Chinese way of saying good fortune. one translation, I guess. The more round, the more better. Something. Yeah. Dog going into his neon blue mode now.
Imagine if I had it like this, just the whole stream, just blue.
It actually
Don't even add the lights.
It would be a vibe, honestly. It would actually be a vibe.
Some ordinary gamer when he always has the fucking red light in so many of his videos.
Oh.
He explained recently why he does that, and it's such a shameless reason.
Let me guess. He just doesn't want to turn on the lights or something.
No, it's intentional. So sometimes to de-stress himself out, he does weed, and it gives him red eye. But if he makes the whole room red, then you can't tell. So he does the red light. Yeah.
That's funny.
Pretty devious.
Who does the dank weed?
Some ordinary.
Mutahar.
Yeah,
some
that's right,
ordinary
Mutahar.
gamer.
Oh, right.
Oh, actually, now that you mentioned them, this is just a really off-topic kind of thing. You guys once mentioned something what am I inspired to do, the formatting of my podcast and
you
stuff?
said trash taste.
I said trash taste, and while I do watch a lot more trash taste, I think at least for episode 1, or at least everything we're doing here, I definitely copied a lot more of their podcast, the Some Ordinary Podcast, in terms of the thumbnails and the 4 layers of people, and then when one of us is saying something funny, I will just close up to your face, focus on just that person's view, POV and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, I definitely got a lot of inspiration from them. Yes, I'm using the word inspiration, not copy.
Hey man, do what you gotta do, all right? I don't see any flaws with that logic. I mean, back in the day, people could have got after you for that, but now that YouTube is so saturated and oversaturated, better word, gooder word would be oversaturated. I don't think anybody would blame you for just adapting what everyone else does, but doing it better.
Well, to be fair, it's simple editing shenanigans. It's not necessarily literally copying. I still made our borders, and I still do sort of original thumbnails and whatnot.
Well, yeah, exactly, and that's why I thought, because it definitely seemed it had the 4 panels, and you would zoom in on one of us when we were talking.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all that. I think the only thing you haven't done, unless you did, and I just didn't notice, and I apologize if so,
Okay.
is you don't put our little like @ symbol in the bottom whenever we're talking. But like, I don't think you need to.
Well,
Is
since
there in the previews?
since episode 1, you guys always have that. Like whenever you're
Oh,
talking,
cool.
you will always
Never
have
mind
the at. I always put your Twitter handle down there.
Do you not
Well,
watch
there
the
you go.
previews, dog? Do you not watch the previews?
Hey, I'm a good boy. I start the video and then I begin doing something else while I listen.
Oh, you actually do listen to the episode. That's cool.
Yeah, we have a fan too. One of
I can't
my
do
friends watches every single one. Sorry?
I can't do that because I can't stand the sound of my own voice, to be honest.
Oh man, I'm the opposite.
Do you ever you two ever go back to like rewatch your old videos?
That's an interesting thing because like I know people who are like I can't handle the sound of my voice, so I don't really like going back to it. I'm kind of okay with it too. Like I actually don't mind going, and I do actually like to watch some of my old videos just to see what the hell was I on back in the day and stuff.
It helps with you because you have the text to speech thing. You don't.
No,
speak that
not
much
just.
in your
I started the
videos.
text to speech stuff like in 2020. I was on YouTube since 2013, so I got some cringy shit back in the day too.
My really old videos cringe me because I did them when I was in high school and my voice hadn't gotten as deep as it is now. So I would force it because I knew that people hated squeakers on YouTube. So my video was like, "You're watching Underdog Gaming," but like forcing my voice really deep. I'm the beginner's guide for not.
like early pyrocynical.
Oh, that's right.
Hey
guys. Today
So guys, we did it.
So guys, we did it. We reached the core. I started my channel like when I was in junior high, and I started off as a Sonic like fan channel, and I did like Sonic gameplay and trailer dubs.
I kind of imagine that.
So if we're comparing cringe.
You got a new show on Netflix recently. There's like a straight up whole Sonic show on
Yeah.
Sonic
Netflix
Prime. I haven't seen it yet, but like people are sharing clips about it online right now. I have no
Real
idea.
quick random tangent too, because Snake brought up like old videos. So last night I had a random thought. So like it's funny that you brought this up. When I was in like what?
No, I'm just stretching. No, I'm just stretching.
Oh, but you're like, no.
I'm just like just stretching. That's it. That's what I'm doing.
How dare you interrupt my stretching time, dog?
Yeah, okay.
I will edit what you say into a very bad context so that you sound like a terrible person. As you want.
Sonic already does that. He made it seem like I like feet in that one clip.
No, wait, no. Wait, did I kind of forgot. I remember the one where I took the one where you talking about the incest, whereas like you took it from me, you son of a bitch. That whole clip was like manufactured, yeah.
So real quick, the little tiny tangent before we get started. So basically, when I was in early high school, like freshman, could have been like end of middle school. One of my friends at the lunch table had a really dumb idea for a Halo machinima, but he made it sound so funny. So the idea was we were gonna work on it together, but they always kept fucking ghosting me whenever it was time to record. I think in the back of their mind they found it cringe because we were also athletes and we enjoyed machinima, but like they just didn't want to actually commit to it. So I did the whole thing myself.
Okay.
And I think it's called like The Legend of the Teabagger or something. And I wanted to go back and rewatch it because I keep forgetting that it had an actual like audience to it. Like the first video I think had over 10,000 views, and even the final episode 7 had like 7,000 or something. This is on an old channel, by the way.
Oh, so you've made
Like, it's
7
not-
episodes. Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, 7 full episodes. They ranged from like 10 minutes to longer. And I was pretty into it because I like watched a lot of Digital Fear videos and stuff, so I knew how to do like the proper camera angles and shit. Yeah,
Nice.
I learned the gimmicks. I learned how to do like the suicide angle where like you just have the camera close to their head, but have someone else point the gun with the same armor when they're committing suicide. Yeah, so you get all serious, have to blow their own head off or whatever.
I actually was planning to do my own Halo machinima with some of my high school friends. I had this whole storyline for it where it's like these are the Spartan 5s or whatever, the newest generation, and they have armor abilities, and each one's got a special one like super jump is the ability for the sniper, and that one of them got super speed and stuff like that. And it's like I actually wrote a fair amount of ideas down for it, but we never ended up. I think we did like a bit of preliminary trying to figure out how to do the recording, but cause I didn't have a capture card at the time, which didn't help.
So
But
you could record gameplay.
no, so I think the idea was to like use Forge because you could save video clips through Forge onto Bungie.net. I think so. I think that was the plan, but it didn't go anywhere, and it's probably for the best. Although interestingly enough, this was with Halo 3 before armor abilities existed in Reach. So if I had gone through, I would have been ahead of my time.
That
would have been a pioneer.
You almost made even further ahead of your time. You almost unintentionally made My Halo Academia, like where they have perks and shit.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
Plays like the anime music and everything.
But you can do that in Fortnite, can't you? Because I think you can do like All Might's big punch move or something. Like
Oh,
Master
that's
Chief
right.
can do that.
They added Deku Smash, and there's Halo's like skin. You could.
I was thinking even better, Snake. Like if it was like a comedy and you didn't mind being a bit shameless about it, you could like cut from like Halo gameplay just the Rumble verse and do the atomic punch line, and then just cut back to Halo.
Just for like
Funny
1
as shit.
second.
Because they have the action figure skin in Rumbleverse. It looks pretty similar to Master Chief from the back. It's even like bright green. They just have like a little top, and they just cut back to like that'd be pretty funny.
That's funny, yeah.
Mario movie.
We want to talk about that?
I'm making the jokes like about Johnny Cage when he's like she makes a cup of coffee in a copper coffee pot. She makes a cup of coffee in a copper coffee pot. But it's like Mario movie. You know you need unique New York. You know you need unique New York.
Yeah, that's right. That's what he said.
It's very important that people can see Cole Young.
Wait, what? Let me see this.
That is wild.
No, I think he
By
he
your
has
finger?
the Funko Pop. Am I right?
Oh my
you
god.
got
He got a Funko Pop. He
I've
got a
got all
Funko
of
Pop.
The only Funko Pops of MK I'm missing are Goro, because that's very exclusive and stupidly overpriced, and the Frozen Scorpion and Burning Sub-Zero. I've got all the rest.
Give me just a second. I know we haven't started yet, but just give me 1 second.
Sure. I watched that video that you made, Snake, and I noticed that like most characters don't have a Funko Pop, which is why I'm so upset that Cole Young has one.
Yeah.
And I'm very sad they didn't go with my idea to just Deadly Alliance him at the start of the movie, just to like drop our jaw.
So, I'm not going to show this in my video whatsoever, because as I stated, this was a surprise. Do you remember
Fucking
a long time
coward.
ago I stated that I had a secret figure that I bought because of Snake's video?
Oh yeah.
There he is. Oh my god. They gave him like a tiny goatee or like a mustache despite him having barely any facial hair at all in the movie. Like he has some, but you can't even see it. Like why does he have that?
The reason why I bought this is because when the inevitable 2021 2 trailer drops and when Ko Young shows up, I'm gonna be like the biggest fake fanboy. Ko Young! I have always
Right.
merch and stuff like that.
Hey, if Brusque Poet proved anything, it's that when you hype up Cole Young, you get put in the reaction compilation. So make sure
Exactly.
that you hype him up.
Exactly. So that's the reason
Let's
why.
go, Cole!
Yeah. All right. So let's get started in the episode.
Yeah, just getting this penis into position, this little robot penis. There we go.
That's an interesting out of context clip there. All right. And
No, you guys, no!
That's your intro.
you're giving me material. And 3, 2, 1. Ora, motherfuckers. Welcome everybody to the Combat Kings podcast episode at 9, I think. Yeah, episode 9. I'm your host Sonic XD, and we're all the hosts here, technically speaking. It's not like you guys are the guests here, but like we got the Force Snake and we got True Underdog here.
Hi.
Here's a pretty fun fact that I noticed when we were watching some of our older episodes. True Underdog used to be down there, and Snake used to be over there, actually. You
Well,
guys,
on my screen, we're all lined up now because I don't do it full screen anymore because we don't have to. We do our own cameras now, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not a big deal.
on Discord, yeah. I think I accidentally switched you guys during the reaction video when we were watching Snowblind.
Nice.
Nobody noticed, so it's fine, I guess. But yeah,
Oh, good. I love to imagine I was facing the wrong way, like Snowblind's over here, but I'm just like... That would have been amazing, just facing the entirely wrong way the whole time. This movie's awesome.
Yeah,
Like those old jokes, like that old joke on Cartoon Network that was done so many times where like character has bad vision but doesn't want to admit it, like doesn't want to buy glasses. So like there's gags like going to the movie theater and everyone else is watching the movie and they're watching someone's phone by accident. Like, oh, this movie's awesome. This is great. They can't tell where the fucking screen is. Stupid gags like that.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite reaction gags was when Red Letter Media did their reaction to, I forgot which, I don't know, Justice League or Batman vs Superman. One of those Star Wars big movies, and their reaction is just like, you see them 2 minutes just like setting up the camera and being like, okay guys, are you ready? Okay, ready to do the reaction? Okay. And 3, 2, and the video ends.
I like the one they did for Solo, where they just, I think it was Solo, where they're just pretending they're seeing everything. Oh, it's the Millennium Falcon and all this stuff, and it's like they're not seeing it because the trailer's not out yet. But they're pretty.
It's like a prediction trailer,
accurate.
right? I have to remember that.
Yeah.
I love Red Letter Media. I found out recently that they made their own movie and it sucks.
You just found
and
out
they're very
about
ashamed
that,
of it. And I'm like, oh, well, because usually like I've heard so many success stories about the opposite, where people who critique movies or critique books, whatever, make their own. And it's like a smashing hit because they've learned how to be a good writer by experiencing what not to do. But apparently it just backfired on Red Letter Media. They just made their own like absolute gutter trash. And I'm like, damn.
Same goes
to a bad taste in my
an
mouth.
Angry Video Game Nerd.
That makes a bit more sense because he just does like reviews of games and stuff, right?
No, actually, he's
a huge film buff.
Yeah, he's like both sides.
Damn.
He is the Angry Video Game Nerd is the most popular part about him, but he also does like movie reviews and now recently doing a lot more like talking just about movies and stuff like that.
Okay.
So in today's episode, we actually have a lot of topics to discuss, but stay tuned to the end of the episode when we get onto our JoJo Part 6 discussion, which I think a lot of people are most interested because we think it sucks. Huh? It's a little controversial, but you're gonna have to wait till the end of the episode to hear our discussion about that. So gonna have to stick with us through.
I feel like it wouldn't be controversial, except that most JoJo fans are blind sycophants. Like they really are. I've seen so many apologists in the JoJo community. Like they love everything, even massive plot holes that make absolutely no sense. Which I guess the writer kind of unintentionally gave himself armor because the show is so ridiculously goofy and over the top that you're kind of conditioned to like accept everything, which normally I'm on board for because it always wraps around to a fantastic ending. But nah, I don't feel that way this time.
Don't worry, dog. We'll let it all out. We'll let it all out in the second half of this discussion.
Heartbroken.
First thing I guess we kind of wanted to talk about was the Game Awards that happened very recently. Actually, literally, it's going to be like almost 2 months by the time this episode...
Do you mean the Boy Awards? The Boy Awards. Because they took so damn many.
Oh, you're talking about the... I forgot his name, but the guy the God of War actor, basically.
Well, yeah, not that specifically. I meant like how God of War Ragnarok got so many awards. But also, yeah, like his award speech... So I was excited to hear him talk because I've known that guy since Stargate because my dad's a huge sci-fi nerd. So I was like, oh, cool, time to hear this guy speak.
Yeah.
And then but then he treated it like it was an Oscar like speech, and I'm like, bro, it's not that kind of speech. It's not.
They allowed it too.
Well, it's like that because God of War, it's not a game script; it's a script.
Yeah, it's like a lot of them weren't even told that it was a game before they said okay to it. They were just told like, I want to make this, and it's like, by the way, the guy who played Baldur in the first God of War. Since the reboot, I'd say the first one, but it's the first one since like the Nordic series.
The reboot.
He infamously went on record, not in a mean way. He just said like, I told them straight away, I'm not doing a video game like script. I'm just not gonna be voice acting for a video game. And they're like, okay. And I read their script. I'm like, oh, it's actually a really good idea. Like, yeah, great. You love it? Yeah, I love it. Got some good news for you. It's for a video game. And he's like, shit. But he was already on board because the script was so good that he stuck around.
That's fun.
But it's just kind of funny. Like Snake said, it's written like a movie. It's not written like to be a game. So checks out.
You know, a wild thing about the Norse ones is that, so I forget his name. He's just a head because he's like cut from a tree.
Yeah,
like
it's just a head, and he's just carried around.
The guy who plays him is Alistair Duncan, who is probably better known as Senator Armstrong in Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
Let's go.
I now want a meme
awesome.
compilation of Mimir stopping me from watching Rule 34 or anything naughty, just like Senator Armstrong. There's so many great clips that I sent one to my brother-in-law of the whole game from Mimir's perspective, where somebody attached a camera to him, like with a mod.
Oh my gosh!
And you just see what he sees. So it shows like you fighting like Thor, and his head's just fucking shaking in the back and can't see anything. Or it's like what an amazing view, indeed. And it just shows Mimir staring at the fucking log behind him because he can't see.
Wait,
and it's so good.
That's funny.
So Kratos is going around with a talking severed head on his belt, facing away from him.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's Lollipop Chainsaw.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Theft.
Only no love.
Theft.
If I'm not mistaken, Baldur is actually. But I hope I'm not mistaken. Let's see if I'm correct about this. But yeah, like God of War won so many awards in the Game Awards, which I think is like deserved and it's fine. But at some points, I do feel kind of bad for like what were the other games that got nominated? Horizon, the Tales, and like I guess even Xenoblade for winning like nothing else because God of War took everything basically.
I'm surprised Elden Ring didn't sweep it.
Elden Ring won one thing and the Game of the Year. So
Yeah.
it definitely feels like they were much more attached to the to a lot of the aspects about God of War, whether it be the story, whether it be the cinematic shenanigans and stuff like that. But just like in terms of the better game, like I am glad at least they agree that Elden Ring is the better one.
And as probably the only person in our group who's played Horizon Forbidden West, I don't think you chaps have played it. I apologize if so. I have to admit, I did not finish it so it doesn't really deserve any awards because you get into it, you get about halfway through it. There's a really good hook in like the middle, which I liked. It took a while to get there, but there's a big hook in the middle story-wise, and I'm like, oh shit, this is cool. Like this is a really cool twist. And then you get like 2/3 into the game, and they finally let you swim in the ocean and shit, which is weird because the game was marketed as like a big water kind of like epic kind of thing, right? It takes you until like 8+ hours in to get to that area that's on the cover of the game.
Oh, wait, are you talking about the first
there.
game or the second game? I'm kind of curious here.
Second one.
Second one,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's the one in the Game Awards, right? Was Forbidden West?
Yes.
Yeah, I finished the first one. I finished the first game out of like principle because I kept praising that game before it even came out because like it felt like someone reached into my brain and pulled out what I always wanted, which is like a world where nature is robots and shit. Like I love that concept. So the fact that someone made that was so cool to me. The only problem is that that poor voice actress, like her talent is wasted because Aloy is the most cardboard wooden character in modern gaming. Like her personality is just not there. Her personality is rude, if I had to describe it in like one word. She's mean to most people when you play Horizon, especially the guys. She's a bit nicer to female NPCs, but she's like really rude and abrasive to most guys. Even if the guys are nice, they'll be like, "Oh, hello, good to see you again." And she goes, "What's the mission?" "Oh, no, hello back. What the fuck, you too?" Okay. So this is how the game kind of feels.
I mean, I haven't played it yet, but like it is. I heard it's basically just like a run-of-the-mill open world game, like for the most part, like just.
It's remarkably challenging, though, if you play it on normal difficulty, because you have to memorize all the different things that robots are weak to and shit, and you gotta flip to it on the fly, and you have to build all the stuff in advance. That's why I haven't gone back to finish it, because I know that I've forgotten half the shit that you need to, like, play it at a regular functioning level. And then also, they added this new mechanic in the sequel, where you can accidentally find, like, shiny Pokemon, but they're rare versions of the enemies. The problem is these rare versions of the enemies can fucking one-shot you. So it's really down-putting to be just playing the game normally. Are you dying up there, buddy? Hello? Are you scratching the floor? You pulling the carpet up? What's going on up there?
What
anyway,
what's going on?
it's just so loud above me. Like, I can hear everything. But basically, those enemies can one-shot you. And it's really frustrating to be, like, playing the game, and you just get one shot, and you're like, oh, shit. Like, I'm dead now. Go back to the checkpoint, because a random shiny enemy showed up and killed me. So the game's pretty punishing is what I'm getting at, like in certain areas. I almost recommend if you play the game and just want a good story and a fun time to play it on the easiest difficulty because it is remarkably easy to get like accidentally ambushed and shit, which is accurate to nature, I suppose. If you're just walking around in the woods, like there would be an animal that just like surprised you, but it's just kind of annoying to be just like going somewhere for like one item and then here's a pack of enemies you didn't expect that are fucking up your shit and you can't get to the item now. Have fun. Unexpected boss fight. But yeah, there you go. Rant over.
I will say, I think Horizon is one of those games that's like, it could have won Game of the Year if it weren't for the fact that God of War and Elden Ring came out like during the same time.
Yeah, it had a really unfortunate time.
And even like what was it? The next Legend of Zelda was going to come out this year. That was going to be the biggest competition. Was like Elden Ring versus Tears of the Kingdom, or Tears of Kingdom, the next Breath of the Wild sequel. But that's coming out next year. So like even that didn't have competition. But
Is that going to be like Final Fantasy X-2, where it's actually a sequel, or is it just going to be like the same style, but it's an entirely different game? Because Legend of Zelda tends to always be.
It's a direct sequel. They've announced that.
Ooh.
Like it's a completely
Is that the first time we've got an actual sequel to a Zelda game?
No.
We had plenty. Zelda 2.
Wind Waker
Majora's
has
Mask.
like 3 games, right?
Yeah, Majora's Mask
they're all
is sequel
connected?
to Ocarina.
Ocarina and Majora's Mask is literally the same world.
Okay,
view,
but
the same link.
originally those games weren't connected until someone like said they were, right? Because like they
Ocarina
were all
of
their
Time
own
and
kind of
Majora's
contained
Mask
story.
is, right, if I'm not mistaken.
Zelda 2 is a direct sequel to the first one.
Well, yeah, but everyone hates Zelda 2. I thought.
It's the same. It's the same link, but a different Zelda. That's the confusing part.
But the
Yes, it's in.
What?
that is
got
kind of
you.
confusing. But like Wind Waker, I remember all 3 of them are the same link, if I'm not mistaken.
No, 2 of them are, but one of them is like
2, okay.
a sequel about another link down the line.
So there is direct sequels, technically speaking, I guess. Like they do happen.
Yeah.
I've seen the chart, but I guess what I meant is
The chart. I know, the
is there-
timeline, the
well,
complicated
there's that famous chart, yeah, that someone made.
Yeah.
But I feel like originally it was, except for like of course the original 3 games or whatever. But ever since then, I was under the impression that every single one was like its own self-contained story with like a beginning, middle, and end. So at the very least, you didn't have to play the previous ones to understand it. Like they had their own contained story.
A lot of them are like that.
I
yeah,
don't think
but
there's
there are some
90% of them you don't
direct
need to play. Like
So I guess what I'm asking is this sequel going to take place after the first one?
yes,
Or is it more of like
is.
a... Oh, okay.
Let me ask this: have you played Breath of the Wild, or do you know anything about Breath of the Wild?
I don't know anything about the story, but I do know like some of the cool stuff about it, like how the game is technically open to you from the very beginning. So
Yeah.
theoretically, you could just kick Ganon's front door and fight him.
Cool stuff. This
Yeah.
is cool stuff.
Best.
I love
best
how-
buff
I love-
queen. It's a little blurry.
What's cool
but
too is that
blurry,
apparently
but-
she's a smaller one.
Yeah,
compared
that-
to most of the.
No. That's the buff queen. There is a smaller one, but that's Urbosa. She's the legendary buff queen in that game, basically.
Oh, my bad then. I do know that Ganon's race is mostly women. I do know that lore.
Yeah,
That's been
yes.
around for a while. That he's one of the rare like men, which is why he just gets to step into the king role because they're so rare.
I'll say this: if you want like competitively speaking, not like a online game competitive, but I'm saying open world genre, like out of the best, competitively speaking, Breath of the Wild is might be one of the best out there in terms of like open world shenanigans. Like I would
Yeah.
recommend that. So I won't spoil exactly why, but it is definitely a sequel. The next game is a sequel to the first game. Like definitely, there's a
I
very
gotta
clear
play it
aspect
then
about
because
it.
I hate the Switch is the problem. I wish the Nintendo would. I understand it's a great way to make money, but I wish Nintendo would just allow some PC ports for like. Because I mean, I just want to play it on PC. I don't want to play
agree.
with that shitty. I think I do have the Pro controller at least for the Nintendo Switch, so I could theoretically switch to it. Nice. Oh, we got Reflectionception.
Oh, that's cool.
It just keeps going.
Let me try.
What's happening? Okay, we're just gonna all do it. Okay. I don't think I can. I just have this. I kind of can, but I'm just getting Snake. I'm not getting me.
Receptionary. Wait, this doesn't work. I'm not like on it enough. Dang it. What is this? JoJo Part 5 ending or something?
Yeah. So, yeah, basically it's the same Link and Zelda in the next one.
Gotcha.
There you go.
I
yeah.
want a sequel to Twilight Princess. Then, god damn it, that's my
There
favorite.
is one.
You
it's
play-
called Link's. It's called Link's crossbow training.
Oh,
Is that actually a sequel? I'm kind of.
I mean, it's the same Link. I assume it's set afterwards.
no, it's called Smash Ultimate because they always use the Twilight Princess link because
Oh,
it looks so
Actually, no.
badass.
Not in Ultimate. In Ultimate,
In
they
Ultimate,
use
it's Breath of the Wild
version.
one. Yeah.
Ah, shit.
And Zelda is a different one too. Not the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things that aim with in Ultimate is that each Link is representing. Well, each character is representing a different game in the series.
I thought you were gonna say Hyrule Warriors for a second, or whatever that game came out that had like the hack and slash, and they
That's
added
Hyrule
very
Zelda.
good.
Warriors,
That is
yeah.
a very good game.
Yeah, is it good? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I played the sequel, which was okay. There's Hyrule Warriors, which is a gigantic collaboration of like Zelda characters all coming together, mishmashing and battling. And then there's Hyrule Warriors 2, which is a Breath of the Wild prequel, and you play as Breath of the Wild characters in that one.
Yeah. They did they did the exact same. They did the same thing with Fire Emblem, where they had like the crossover one, and then they did one that's specifically based on 3 houses.
Oh, really?
Nice.
There's two. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Are we gonna say?
I love how when you look at Hyrule Warriors with so I love how when you see Midna's gameplay, like adult true form Midna in Hyrule Warriors, that it just has this energy of intern had to brainstorm a way that she fights because there's nothing to go off
Yes,
of.
yes.
So they're like, shit, her ending has that giant fucking mirror that she goes into. Fuck it, she fights with that. Like I don't know, that's all I got. That's all I got. And so that's what she fights with, and I was like, huh. I thought she'd be summoning like the hands from the Dark World and shit,
Doesn't
or like
she do that, if I'm not mistaken?
she
think
does,
she
but
was
the
a
mirror is
bit
like a
of
big
that.
part of how she fights. And I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah. Then you look at Agatha the Bug Girl and her umbrella.
That's completely original. Whatever she does, yeah. What a funny character to bring in. Like she's just a creepy bug girl in the Twilight Princess. Make her the like super OP fairy lady in Hyrule Warriors.
And they didn't add Groose. I want Groose.
Yes! Groose.
Alongside, I want his theme to get a fucking electric guitar remix like all the other Zelda
Like
tracks that are in there. I want that.
Super Smash Bros. Remix of Groose's theme. Yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah.
Groose is like one of those characters like you shouldn't like him, but he becomes super lovable from the Skyward Sword. But yeah, Twilight Princess is like one of my top 3 favorite Wii games back when I played it too.
So you meant Bug Lady in the sense that she just has bugs in her basket or something. Okay, I thought you meant like Devora when y'all said Bug Lady. I was like just picturing.
Do you remember in Twilight Princess there's a mechanic where you can collect these like shiny beetles?
Now I see her.
can-
Because all the art made her
yeah.
look different, but now I see her in game and I remember that whole area. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She's such a like side character that has no connections. It's just like a very funny NPC. Add her into Hyrule Warriors and give her a complete moveset.
Every game must have its lolly. It's a rule. We gotta
she's
include a
not that
lolly from every
sure.
game.
She does have that fantasy like goth girly kind of a look, I would say. I don't think she's lolly material though. IMO.
What? She's short.
Is she?
She's a lolly. She's like tiny.
Let me see
Agatha,
this.
yeah.
I mean, she's like 14, I think, something like that.
Very well.
Yeah. That's fine. That's a lolly. Anyway, yeah, you're right. We did get off tangent though. Back to the Game Awards. What'd you want to bring up?
Can I? Okay, I want to add something because I did some research just then. Mimir, the head, is a back bling decoration in Fortnite. If you get Kratos from God of War, so now instead of the next to his like waist, he's on the back now. But yeah, overall, I actually really enjoyed the Game Awards this year. A lot of like pretty unexpected but fun trailer announcements, and then like a lot of games that I wanted to win like did win, so I was happy about that. And then yeah, like I won Elden Ring for Game of the Year, so that was great with the interesting Bill Clinton ending, which everyone's talking about.
Yeah, the new rabbi. Yeah, the new Orthodox rabbi himself.
Yeah, Bill Clinton won Game of the Year.
Did you guys see any trailers that you were particularly excited for?
Let's see. So I'm most excited for Hades. I've played that game and like I was like when you see the studio name pop up, it's like oh kind of a thing. It was like wow,
Nice.
and it's just like gonna be completely like the same as Hades 1, just like brought back again. Armored Core. That was so
Right?
interesting because like I didn't know even Armored Core existed, and then it's like midway through the trailer you see From Soft. It's like everybody's you just see the whole crowd going crazy. Like whoa, that is so interesting.
It's been like 15 years, dude, since that
10
last
years,
Armored
yeah,
Core game.
yeah. It's like now it's like I'm subscribed to this one like Dark Souls lore channel, and the moment that came out within 24 hours, hey guys, so today we're gonna discuss about Armored Core the series, and I've already made this 15-minute video discussing all this stuff and whatnot. It's like wow, that was like
Oh
very
my gosh,
fast.
I would love the idea if like Vata Vidya, the guy who only does
Yes,
FromSoft
it's
games, I want to
Vati.
see him do like, is it him?
Yes,
He's
it's
gonna
him
do
that
deep
made the
lore
video, yeah.
dives into Armored Core now because he has to make FromSoft games.
And he's
That's
like,
funny.
He's like, oh, and I have a feeling it's gonna be another Souls-like. And then just recently they were announced that Armored Core is not gonna be a Souls-like. It's gonna be like the original like robot
Yeah.
gameplay and stuff like that. So hey,
Which I'm excited for
from
because that
Soft
game was
finally
confusing.
not making a Souls-like. I mean, like that is quite interesting.
Bring back Tenchu, cowards.
Bring back Tenchu. Yes, it's agreed. We should bring back Tenchu.
There's a lot of games like before they became popular from the Souls-like that are like very very interesting from like around before the 2010 eras. Yeah. Well, did you guys see any trailers that you were interested in?
Well, obviously, given the nature of my channel, I was only watching the Game Awards in case they showed Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8, and we knew they were going to show Tekken 8 because Harada had teased it multiple times.
I remember they
with the very
announced Street
clever
Fighter
save
6
the
too.
date trailer. They did, but I didn't know for sure if we'd get Street Fighter 6 because I didn't catch that announcement, I guess.
Okay.
But of course they were going to. I'll say this, and maybe I'm not alone in this opinion. As someone who's watching the Game Awards solely to see trailers and not really giving a shit about the awards, that was the most drawn out and boring experience I've been through in a pretty long time. And it feels like someone got jealous of the Oscars and decided to make their own version of it, but with games. But the issue is gamers don't want that. It's more for everyone else than it is like the actual gamers.
Yeah.
But that's just my experience with it.
It's been like that throughout the years, though. Technically speaking, it's just like, Oscar
I never watched them though.
And I will say this:
Yeah.
I didn't watch it live. I watched it like 30 minutes before it ended, so I got to like, okay, here's an announcement. I don't care. Skip, 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 skip. Oh, okay, here's a game and more.
Nice.
Okay, skip, 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 skip. Yeah, I didn't watch it live. I watched it like an hour like after, because it started like around 6 a.m. where I live, so I ain't waking up that early just to watch the Game Awards.
It was like 12:30 at night over here when it aired, so I had to just wait for the morning. But I couldn't check Twitter or anything. I had to try and avoid Twitter while I skimmed through it to find all the trailers.
Exactly.
And in the end,
yes.
there was one trailer that got me, that I was interested in, and that was for the DLC for Fire Emblem Engage.
That's right.
Because one of the DLC things is that they're adding one of the rings with the other characters you can summon, and it's the three house heads from Three Houses.
Yeah. Yep.
And I adore Edelgard, so I'm
Edelgard was
going to
there,
put that
yeah.
ring on, and I'm not going to have any of the other rings. It's just going to be Edelgard all the way through. But it started a bit of a meme now, where because the characters have been adapted into this art style from what they had previously. Edelgard's forehead's kind of big.
I saw that. Yeah.
I'm seeing
Let's go, Forehead gang.
So I'm seeing a lot of the same jokes that we saw with Persona 5 when Haru was showing off, and people are like, oh, she's got a huge forehead. There's the same kind of jokes, like the characters are playing noughts and crosses on her head.
Sonic, make sure to edit in like any character from Code Lyoko, just so we can show what peak Forehead game looks like, because every character in Code Lyoko, half their head is their forehead, if not more, because actually I think half your head being forehead is kind of common for manga.
I see this,
But Code
yeah.
Lyoko takes it to the next level. It's French though. It's not anime technically, but it's definitely trying to be anime. And their
It's
heads
the
are
forehead
fucking
game.
huge.
There's a character who has longer hair covering down, and even he has like a forehead.
Yeah, no, their foreheads are ridiculous. And like, what's even worse is there's like 3D segments because they were experimenting with 3D in that time period, and their foreheads look even more pronounced in 3D because like it's coming at you. So, yeah. It was a good show in hindsight. I wish they'd reboot it in some way because 3D has like advanced so much. If we can have Paw Patrol with decent animation, then I'm really excited to see what Code Lyoko could
I've
look
never
like.
seen
Because
Paw
back
Patrol.
then,
Does it have good animation?
for being 3D, I'm pretty impressed by it because it's
Okay.
clearly a kids show.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like there's Coco Melon, then there's Paw Patrol. You know.
Didn't they bring Cold Lyoko back for that live action thing?
Yeah,
Or
but
was-
I don't
was
want that though. That's not what I mean. No, it didn't happen. No, actually,
I
you know
think
what? I'm gonna go
that
full
and
denier and
Reboot
say it
both
never
got-
happened. Huh? Go ahead.
Cold Lyoko and Reboot both got live action continuations or something. I don't know why.
Oh, man. Reboot.
Interesting.
Reboot was like cutting edge with like how it even tried to do 3D back then because almost no one was even doing it. So the fact they went for like a realistic like 3D was awesome.
I do see the 3D actually. Code Lyoko's 3D here. It's I'm not too sure how I feel.
It's
about
also
that.
known for having one of the most banger intros of all time, Code Lyoko, because it's a banger intro. It's really good. In every language, it's good. The French goes hard. I watched the English one first, which I fell in love with, but the French one, because I don't speak French, it sounds like one running sentence, and I love that. I can't tell when like it stops, so it's just like, "Vous savoir, ne sais quoi." I'm like, oh, cool. I like it.
Yo, yeah, this opening is kind of fire. I'm kind of listening to it.
See how boring the Game Awards are? We keep going on tangents that are way more interesting than the actual Game Awards.
There's that,
I
we
think-
actually can end the Game Awards tangent with one thing
Yeah.
right after this, because the reason why I'm bringing up the Game Awards is because of the game announcement that we wanted that was not at the Game Awards.
I mean, I'd like to say that it turns out NRS actually stands for No Reveal. Sorry.
Nice. That's a
reveal, sorry,
banger.
that's
He was
pretty
holding
funny.
on to that one.
But anything else you guys want to mention about the Game Awards? Like any
It felt very
shenanigans?
bougie. That's what I don't like about it. Because at least when you watch E3 and stuff, everyone there is dressed in like mostly casual clothes and stuff. But you watch the Game Awards and they're all like, they're clearly like, we're rich. You're not. We're invited. You're not. We're famous. You're not. Fuck you. That's like how it comes off to me. Like, as like a gamer, that's how it looks to me.
I will say this though, because you said this is the first Game Awards you watched. I think I've watched almost every Game Awards that came out. It's all about the same. And the fact that I said this one was the better one, you can imagine what happened in some of the other ones. The last year's, it was just mostly because there weren't that many good games. And then the year before that was so controversial because The Last of Us 2 won like 7 things there. And that was like really, oh my gosh, in that situation.
Oscars, baby, just like the Oscars, or like where like it's the faculty that votes on it, not like the actual popular opinion.
And don't forget when Death Stranding was on, and it's like, the game that Jeff Keighley is in, that his personal friend made. Yeah, I wonder why that... I mean, I'm not going to accuse him of corruption. I'm just going to say it's going to look very suspicious when a game that a lot of people didn't like because it's kind of boring won that many awards.
The thing is, Death Stranding is a very big game. I mean, I know a lot of people didn't like it, but at the same time, I know a lot of people liked it too. So I think I
enjoyed it. The only downside... Yeah, the only downside that I didn't even notice when I was playing, but in hindsight it is kind of dumb, is that you technically can't like get a game over.
Yeah,
because like your character is unable to die. So like even during boss fights, they don't let you leave the boss fight. So every boss fight is like a joke because you'll eventually win. It's like impossible to actually lose a boss fight. I didn't even realize that because it's such an epic, like grandiose thing whenever a boss fight happens that I didn't realize. You technically like there's no reason to be stressed out because I could just like I'll eventually win. But yeah, I think my issue with like the Game Awards, if I had to give it like one big complaint, it's that it absolutely understands what we want and stands in opposition to that because of what it wants to be. Like what gamers want is the trailer, the award, the trailer, the award. But they add in so much fluff to make it like a this live experience where it's like they have the girl go like, oh my gosh, wasn't that crazy? Here's a funny joke. Anyway, now time for a quick transition to blank. And it's like, shut the fuck up. Just show the trailer, give an award. Show the trailer, give an award. And that's all we want. But they add all this fluff because Jeff Keighley or whatever wants it to be the Oscars. Like he wants so badly for it to be the Oscars. So he makes it like the Oscars.
The celebrities that they get on, I'm like, these people have got nothing to do with this industry. They didn't have like Al Pacino or some bullshit.
Like, they had an actor.
Why the fuck is he here?
Don Pacino.
I mean, unless he reveals that unless he's like, oh yeah, I play Sims 3 in my spare time. Fine.
Stomping
He's just some guy. He's just some guy as far as the games are concerned. I mean, he's not even been in a game ever. Even when I'm pretty sure like, some of the films he was in got adapted, he weren't part of it. So what was the point?
Just celebrity,
like, at least get like a voice actor. Like, okay, I'd take Troy Baker over. I'm sick of Troy Baker being in all these shows, but I'd sooner have Troy Baker show up because he is related to the industry.
He did show up.
He's fuck.
He did show up for the Last of Us like TV show announcement.
Oh god. But that was now. I thought that was like the last thing.
No. He wasn't this Game Awards. Yes, he showed up with like the people who are going to play the live action characters to announce some award. I think. Yeah.
Oh,
what is that guy called? The Game Awards actor, Mandalorian actor.
Pedro Pascal.
He's the one who's doing Last of Us, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I don't mean to be a dick, but he's not macho enough to be Joel. Like he just straight up isn't. Like I'm not trying to be mean, but he just doesn't have that hardness.
Look that much like them, I will agree. But like,
did you see Joel's daughter? She looks the least like she's supposed to.
Yeah, but like they both just don't look like super like it. But it's like,
Well, they were no. I mean, not Ellie. They race swapped Joel's daughter.
Oh, I've heard about that. Yeah.
His biological daughter.
I was going to joke if like say what did they make her black? But then I'm thinking no, she's
black,
not a redhead. So she's not a redhead. So they wouldn't do that. But I guess they did then.
Even little tiny blonde girls are not safe from the race swap.
It's not her. It's not her.
That seems unnecessary because her only role is to die. That's like her only role in the game is to like die. Yeah. So
maybe they'll add more then.
See, if they did it to like Tess, I'd be like, okay, I can kind of understand.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
I wouldn't agree with it, but I could understand why they might do that. But it's such a small part. Like there's maybe that's why they did it because they were like, well, it's such a small part, people won't complain. But like the fact it's such a small part that there's no point making that change.
Yeah, and what's so funny about it is that Last of Us isn't even an old game, and already they're like adapted for a modern audience, and it's like, what do you mean? Like, we just had the game like not that long ago.
They remade the game like a third time recently. Yeah.
The game is less than a decade old, and they just put out a remake.
Well, I just meant like how like does that mean that like whenever you make a show off a game, they're like we adapted it for a modern audience, and I'm like, but the game's not even old. Like it's still modern.
Oh
Yeah.
god. So you know, I just realized what they're gonna do in the Metal Gear Solid movie if it does get made, because it is of course going to adapt MGS1, because apparently the foundational piece that is Outer Heaven, what all the big boss games lead into, that doesn't matter apparently. Meryl's a redhead.
Oh no. Well, we know what's gonna happen now.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yep.
Good thing I'm very detached from the Metal Gear series, so I won't give a flying fuck. Maybe they'll let us off easy, and it'll be the sniper chick instead, who gets like race swapped. She's not a redhead, but like she just might get replaced because she's minor.
Minor character, I guess, ish.
I can absolutely see them taking the boss from MGS3, who's like one of the most important characters in the setting, Big Boss's mentor, and race swapping her too. I can absolutely see them doing that.
I could too.
They could,
As someone who lives in Texas, do you know what really shocks me the most about the race change for Joel's daughter? I'm very surprised she wasn't just Hispanic, because we have like a 80% or something Hispanic population in Texas. So like I'd be completely okay with like race swapping her into like Hispanic or something, because it'd be very possible.
And
but it's just funny.
Isn't Pedro Pascal himself Hispanic?
I'm
Oh,
not
well then there you go. I mean, it definitely sounds Spanish
sense.
at the very least.
Yeah, it would make sense if they did
Pascal
that.
is Pascal a white guy's name actually? Because that was the guy who made the actual device, right? Pascal. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm very ignorant.
Anyway,
Chilean. Okay, there you
Is
go.
that
Something
Chilean?
working.
Is that how you say it? Because that's his nationality.
Chilean.
Chilean.
Chilean. I like
that how you say
Chilean. Like he's a chili. He's a Chilean.
Chilean. There you go. I like how we got onto this tangent because I was telling Snake that Troy Baker didn't show up at the Game Awards.
I wanted to say too, don't you all love that Troy Baker was used for Injustice 2, but they put such a fucking heavy voice modifier on him that you can't even tell that it's him?
I don't even remember.
Gotta love
who
that.
did he play in
Wait,
Injustice 2? I don't remember.
I think he plays Deadshot.
No, that was Matt Mercer.
Really? Oh, never mind then.
Oh, it's
For some reason I thought it was Troy
Cassidy,
Baker.
okay.
Yeah, and that's one of those. That was a role reprisal because he
Striker.
played him in Arkham Origins.
I could have sworn
okay.
there's at least one trailer where he doesn't have the voice effect on. I wonder if that was Troy Baker and they replaced him or something. Because originally Deadshot didn't have the voice modifier in one of his early like reveals.
Yeah,
Then they put it on later.
it's possible.
My bad then. My bad.
Don't worry about it. Troy, Matt
to
Mercer
be
are like
fair,
so up
yeah,
there.
Matt Mercer is the guy you get when Troy Baker doesn't come back.
That's the joke. Yeah, that's the joke. Yeah. Oh wait.
Actually, one more thing. There was one other thing that was shown at the Game Awards, which was that Kevin Conroy is back in the Suicide Squad game.
Yes. His
Yeah,
final
yeah.
role, I think.
That's actually really touching. I think that's a really good
Yeah,
thing to do. That.
unless the game's title isn't a lie and we do get to kill the Justice League. Because if we get to kill Batman, voiced by Kevin Conroy at this point, kind of awkward.
Chadwick Boseman situation when he played Black Panther in the What If and gets killed off like twice in the show or something.
Oof.
Yeah, he dies like 3 times and also gets cannibalized in one of them.
I didn't know that. I haven't finished that terrible What If because like after episode like
Don't.
3, I was like, I'm done. It just gets worse and worse. Like I was
like genuinely the best episodes are like 1 and 2.
Yeah, I know you
And
like
that's-
1
and
because
that's-
of Buff Lady.
Yeah.
One's just good. One's like just a genuinely decent story because like they didn't even do what I thought they would do, which is just sideline, Captain America
Steve.
because he's not Captain America. They let him actually do shit, and I was like, oh, sick. That's awesome. Like really cool.
The
that's just me.
what you may call it, it was very similar to just like a retelling of the first one, but so I kind of just glossed over it in a way because it's so similar to the first movie. I
It also does that thing where there's that thing as well. The show where like major characters just go out like chumps for no reason. Like, there's one episode where like Ultron wins in Age of Ultron, and then he just warps to where Thanos is and just slices him half with a laser.
Yeah. I've
And
seen that
that's
clip.
it. Like Thanos is dead. It's like
that's it. Yep. Bye bye.
Don't do that. That's ridiculous.
Do you know what I hate the most about that was the writer's excuse for why that happens? It was a pretty good response, damn him, but it's still stupid because it explains why multiverse is so stupid and ruins writing.
I kind of forgot what he said, but he did come out and say something. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, he said, well, here's the thing. There's an infinite number of possibilities and infinite timelines. You saw the one where Thanos died, but in every other one, he won.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, yeah, but he lost so convincingly. Like, he was just not even Thanos. He was just cocky and got hit by a straight up like laser beam, which you'd think he'd be able to like react to with the gauntlet or some shit and just like block it. But he just stands there and gets taken out. I'm glad that one guy didn't get to have his way with the fucking dark ending for Thanos, because it wouldn't have been Thanos. So I'm glad I didn't see the light of day either. But I saw that in like some random Watch Mojo style video on YouTube where there's like concept art for where in Endgame they go to an accidental timeline where they see the future where Thanos just straight up won their first encounter, but in a different way, and like everyone's dead and he's sitting on a throne and holding Captain America's head or something.
Very edgy.
And I'm like, that's not even Thanos though. He doesn't act that way, so it wouldn't have made sense. Comic book Thanos acts that way, but movie Thanos has his goal in mind.
He doesn't
the goal
want to
isn't
kill
to like kill people. The goal is to get his goal. Yeah. So he wouldn't have glorified like killing his enemies like that. Comic book would have, but not movie version. So I'm glad they didn't do that.
So Troy Baker did voice Nightwing and Sinestro in the first God is Among Us Injustice game.
Nice.
So there's Troy there in the series.
Did he voice both Nightwings?
Apparently.
No, just
Dick Grayson.
Just Dick. Damian was Neil McDonough, who is also Damien Dark in Arrow, and
oh, cool.
He was also Flash in Injustice 1, and he was also he's in the MCU as one of the Howling Commandos. I think it was Dum Dum Dugan, maybe.
I had no clue how many people they changed between games for the voices of the characters. I guess that just shows how much more the looks matter than the character's voice, I guess.
It's actually not that many with Injustice. Injustice was more that the most of the characters were swapped out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think it was just like him and like one other character. Yeah, him and those two and Hal Jordan. I think everyone else is the same.
The one that really interested me was
MK, and MK changes constantly.
In the Flash's voice is like changed from Injustice Gods Amongst Us, Injustice 2. They got the voice actor who did the Flash in Mortal Kombat vs. DC to come back.
Yep.
So that interests me. I was like, okay, so because Mortal Kombat vs. DC, a lot of those voice actors moved on to NRS projects too. So it's like they had their cringy time in the story modes in there, but they did pretty good performances in the NRS stuff, in my opinion.
There is one voice change that stands out to me a lot between the Injustice games, and it's how Damian Wayne went from the "I'm not Dick Grayson" super deep voice to like match how he sounds. He sounds like Batman's son, like legitimately in the first game. He sounds like Batman's kid.
He's like
and then in the sequel, where he's supposed to be even older, he's like, "I didn't mean to kill him. I didn't mean to kill Dick."
which is kind of funny because like the new actor is the guy who played Dick Grayson in Arkham Knight.
Oh, shit. Interesting. But yeah, he got such a big change throughout the game, throughout the two games, and even the comics. Because in the game, he's definitely more of like this evil, like edgy, like Robin, like I killed Nightwing, yeah, kind of a thing. And then they just reverted that and turned him into Robin.
I missed the edgy one.
Injustice Gods Among Us 2.
The more I look back on it, like Injustice 1 feels more like Damian, because he's like a brick shit house like Batman, and he's got the deeper voice. It just seems more like Bruce's genes. Whereas to me, they tried to make Injustice 2 Damian just look like interchangeable Robin. Like he has the generic like Robin build. He's big but not too big, you know.
It's kind of like if they went from going from Red Hood Jason Todd to Robin Jason Todd.
I guess.
Or they went from regular Red Hood to Arkham Knights. I mean, to Gotham Knights Red Hood, where he's a fucking brick shit house, but in reverse.
Although it doesn't really matter overall, because I think people really liked the Damian Robin in Injustice 2 because he held a sword. And sword gameplay. That's cool. Even though he's an asshole,
that became synonymous
so
with
cool.
Damian. That's how you can tell which Robin it is from a distance. Like that's intentional, I think.
Yeah,
Even in the comics, you can tell which Robin it is because he has a sword, and you're like, oh shit, it's Damian.
It's Damian, yeah.
I had no idea how hard they pushed him until recently. I started watching all the animated like Batman movies, and goddamn, they pushed Damian so hard in like all the movies.
Interesting.
Not just him being there, but he beats everybody. Like he'll beat all the legacy characters. He even beats Batman in a fight where Batman seems to be trying. And I'm like, what the fuck? Nobody beats Batman. That's like a general rule that no one gets to beat Batman in like the 1v1. But whatever.
Fun fact about the DC animated shenanigans. We didn't really talk about what we've been doing recently topic, but like recently I have this urge to watch some of the animated DC movies, and I watched the Flashpoint recently. Have you guys seen that one or?
I've seen bits of it.
It's
I
like
don't
it.
really care for Flashpoint as a story in general. So,
Ah,
but I
I see.
know some of the changes.
it's not really a Flash movie. It's more literally like a what if movie, but like it's like a really really edgy like horrible world that
Yeah.
he goes into. It's quite fun, and
Yeah.
I mostly just watched it because, as I say, I wanted to watch the DC movies, but also because I want to see where the meme came from. It was me,
It's
Barry.
me.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
it
jerks
was
you off
me.
at super speed. Yeah. Yeah. So what's cool about that is like I haven't read the comics, but from the few changes I've seen, I actually think the movie changes are better, which is rare. Typically, when
Okay.
they change something for like the movie, it's worse. But I like a lot of the changes they made for the Flashpoint Paradox movie, including the fact that you don't know the cause of the Flashpoint until like towards the very end, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, that's actually a decent twist. Like I like that.
Oh, you know that throughout the comics or something?
It's way more obvious in the comics, yeah, because
Okay,
they
yeah,
keep like
'cause I didn't. I had a hint, but when it was revealed, it was like, oh, very yeah, that is interesting. I also like the reveal of Batman, like how he is handled in the movie. It's like, oh, okay, that's interesting how they do that. With
What's
Batman.
even better too is like you've seen the infamous scene probably where like what happens to Zoom, right? You've probably seen what happens to Eobard Thawne, right?
I actually don't know anything about Reverse Flash. Not gonna lie.
No, in the movie, I mean, in the Flashpoint Paradox.
What happened to him? Oh, you mean? Oh, okay, yeah, at the end, yeah.
Snake, you've seen it too, right? Probably like what happens in the you don't care about it anyway, right? So I can say it,
Yeah,
not a spoiler.
It's talking about
In the
the
reveal,
movie's been out for like 10 years.
7 years, yeah.
If you've not seen it by now, we're gonna spoil.
Okay, well, I just
give it a
mainly cared
watch.
about you.
Give
I
it a
don't
watch.
care
It's
about
fun.
anybody else. I just care
It's
about
kinda
Snake.
fun.
So Snake doesn't care. So he gets shot in the back of the head by
Yeah.
Batman, which makes way more sense to die because one, bullets are faster, but also like no one expects Batman to use a gun because normally he doesn't. But this version of Batman totally uses guns.
yeah.
For context, because you mentioned it in the comic, he gets run through with the sword from behind by Batman.
Yeah, which is way less likely. Yeah, he's killed by a fucking sword. It makes like no sense. I'm like, dude, I get that Batman's quiet, but like for one thing, it's not actually Batman. It's like the
Thomas Wayne.
It's not
the dad,
It's not League of Assassins, Bruce Wayne, Batman.
Yeah.
It's angry thug trained myself in a cave.
Yeah,
Thomas
but-
Wayne.
yeah.
So he's not a ninja. He's
you know
a different
damn well
kind
his
of Batman.
footsteps would be like.
Bitter down
like
Batman,
Flash would
yeah.
hear it, yeah. I do like the one difference though that I prefer, which is that he gets his money through the fucking casinos. 'Cause
yeah, that's right,
He
they
owns
said that.
casinos. I like that shit. I'm also a big fan of Yo-Yo. I'm not gonna lie, that's
A
an
very short
interesting version
cameo,
of Harley
but
Quinn.
she was cool. Like she was strong too. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. Like Yo-Yo Harley Quinn.
That movie's also a good example of when they started doing the blend between comic and anime art style that they pretty much kept in all like the future
Yeah.
like DC
Yeah.
films because it worked so well. And I'm like, yeah, it's a good change. So yeah, it's a good movie. I recommend it. It's way better than the Red Sun movie, which is also based on a graphic novel, but they changed stuff on purpose, and it really
Yeah,
pissed me off how much they changed it from the
they
graphic
do
novel
that.
to the movie.
It's a fun what if movie, the Flashpoint Paradox. I enjoyed watching it.
Have you seen Hush?
Yeah, also bullshit with the ending change.
No, I did
yeah.
not.
I mean, I look at that and I prefer it because I feel like the
Ooh.
twist in the original comic was way too obvious. Whereas I feel like what they went with for the
Yeah.
film is a bit weird, but I can appreciate that this mystery story isn't like as predictable as a Scooby Doo episode.
Okay.
So I can appreciate
That's
that.
fair, but
Is
at the
the
same time, that's like the comic that's known for that character. So the fact that he's like denied his own character is kind of
Yeah.
weird to me.
Well, I haven't seen that one, so.
I think the film's worth a watch though.
Okay.
Go fuck yourself, Sonic. We're gonna spoil everything.
no.
Biatch.
mean,
So anyway,
I mean,
Get to
there
the
are-
other
there are-
other.
There's certainly worse movies in that continuity you can watch, like Dark Side War or whatever the fuck, where like everyone fucking dies.
yeah,
I did
that's
watch
your
that
favorite
one,
though,
yes.
Snake. You told me. I mean, Sonic. No, Snake. Yeah, you told me, Snake. That's your favorite. You love when the characters die brutally for no reason. That's your favorite.
This is true.
You said so. Absolute sarcasm. He hates that.
In terms of recently animated, I would say one of my favorites that I've seen is The Long Halloween.
Mhm.
I mean, the comic is really good, but I meant like I think they did a really good job adapting that too, because
Yeah,
like
it was
that was
fun.
fun.
I didn't know the comic art looked so bad until I googled it, and I'm like, damn, that's a very interesting art style with the long Halloween. You know what made me sad though? Like actually sad about the adaptation. So, Catwoman has a very unique costume in that series, and they didn't put it in the movie.
Did they not?
They gave her
I
the
didn't know
generic
about this.
Catwoman, like gray head to toe with the little yellow belt that she always has, her yellow circular belt that never made sense in like the old cartoons and stuff. They just adapted like original Catwoman, but like better because she's got like a really good physique and like it's drawn very well and the shading's good. But in the comic for the Long Halloween, she had this bright purple outfit with like giant cat ears on it and even like whiskers, and it looked very different, like very unique. And they didn't put it in the movie, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like that's what she's known for in that like series was that really crazy design.
It is.
You can even play.
Very interesting.
You can play some games where you can play as Catwoman, and they include the Long Halloween as a costume because it's such a unique
Arkham
standout
City had
costume.
that.
I see that. Yeah, Arkham City. Yeah.
It looked cool.
It does look kind of interesting. It's got a classic like look to it and stuff.
But it still doesn't beat the best Catwoman design, which is from the Batman series.
Oh, with the big ears.
Yeah, and the red and black. Fucking love. And the giant collar and the goggles. Such a good costume.
That's a good one, yeah.
Ah, I see. If I'm
I
probably
bet
my
Snake would
favorite-
like Snake would like this version of Catwoman from the Long Halloween because she's buff as shit. Like, they gave her like a man's physique. She's so muscular. Like she looking good. She's so buff.
I might have to check this film out then. Oh, it's a two-parter, so maybe there's twice as much screen time
two-parter.
of this.
It's very good.
Oh.
I loved it
Well,
because
not in the movie. In the comics, she's super buff. In the movie, she's just
Oh.
Catwoman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wah. Maybe you might want to consider the comics then. Wait,
I guess
have
I'm
you
gonna have
you
to.
seen or heard anything about the Long Halloween then, Snake?
I know the premise. I think I know the ending, but I've never actually watched or read it. But I might have to check that out.
It's pretty great because it's a mystery that starts off pretty intriguingly, but then as it goes on, it starts to unravel and become more and more messy and more messed up to the point where at the end of it, the mystery doesn't matter anymore. It kind of becomes like something else. That's how I'll put it basically, and very enjoyable. Very early Batman too, so it's like one of his first detective like works and stuff.
Yeah. Which is very smart to do as a writer because then you can like have Batman make mistakes.
Yes.
I'll tell you a Catwoman costume I want to see come back. So when they ported Arkham City to the Wii U for the Armored Edition, the reason it's called Armored Edition is because Batman and Catwoman got new armored outfits for that game.
Ah.
And they never appeared anywhere else. But the Catwoman armored outfit's actually quite good.
Let me see this.
Oh, cool.
Let me see this because I know about the Armor Edition. People were not happy with that version because you have to use the Wii U to like do shenanigans and whatnot.
Yeah, a lot of early Wii U games and ports had weird controller gimmicks.
Also, fun fact: the Long Halloween costume is one of the few costumes where Catwoman has a tail. It's kind of
Cat.
It's weird how rare that is as a design thing.
Yeah. Well, I guess because they don't want you to think that she has like control over a tail because she doesn't. She's not like she's not an animal person like Cheetah.
She just has a whip.
She just wears a costume.
She just has a whip. That's what's Okay.
Oh,
It
you
does
just
look
reminded
kind of,
me that like I think in go ahead.
No, I'm just looking at the armor design. It does look quite interesting. It's not too big of a change, but you can see like some armor shenanigans.
I think in the first Injustice game, her whip is her tail. I think, but I could be misremembering. I think she does have like a pseudo tail.
I think that is the case. Because I know there's at least one design that does that, and I think that was the one that did it.
Gonna keep sending pictures of buff Catwoman from the Long Halloween comic. Like she's very buff.
Actually, her second design in Injustice 1 was kind of similar to this, I think. But the purple one she was in the Regime universe.
Yeah, it's purple. It's at least purple. Yeah, and it has like the ears. Yeah.
I'm checking out Catwoman. I don't see a tail though in the Injustice.
The
comic.
weirdest.
Most people most of the time are checking out Catwoman.
Yeah, she was like because we used me and my brother we used to like Batman shenanigans all the time, and like he was a big fan of Catwoman, Poison Ivy, so it's like those are the two characters that I like too.
Nah, she
Well,
definitely got a tail.
She does.
Injustice 1 does have a tail. Yeah, I have a picture of it right here.
Oh wait, yeah, maybe let me see. She does have a tail. Look at that.
It's a whip.
It's
Yeah, it's
fun.
her whip. Like her whip is
Oh,
her
so
tail.
she just like attaches it onto her butt and then she takes it off. to
Yeah,
use
and she
it as-
grabs it to whip with it. Yeah. She grabs
Nice.
it to fight with it. Yeah, it's pretty smart. Like people can rip on the game all they want for being like, oh, there's too much armor everywhere, but Injustice had some clever decisions with some of the costumes. Like they had somewhere out there looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's I see it as a cute alternate design in a way. Yeah. So yeah, Game Awards. I liked it. True Underdog and Force Snake probably only liked the trailer or two. So
Well,
But
I'll
one
watch
trailer.
it next time to make it more fun. I'm just going to watch it without reacting. That way, I'm not paranoid and constantly checking my camera and shit to make sure it's working. I'll just watch it
We're
normally.
reacting to it.
Yeah, but mainly for like the Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8 like reveal.
Oh, so
I
you
like,
did
did a
you
reaction.
did do that already? So you did that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the whole reason I was watching it. Honestly, if I wasn't trying to react to it, I would have just done what you did and like waited till it was done and then skip through to the parts I want.
I'm glad you mentioned Tekken 8 because something's just there's a bit of discourse right now with Tekken 8.
You mean the family
Okay.
shenanigans? I saw your
Yes.
tweet.
So,
I was confused
yeah,
as heck.
I want to get this on the record. So, Kazuhiro Harada, the director of the Tekken games now, he'd been doing that role since like 3, I think. He was talking about the story to some people, and he described. And so Jin Kazuma's mother, is coming back. She's been missing since Tekken 2.
I got a question.
So
Is she coming back, or is she gonna come back like Heihachi's wife, like in a flashback?
No, she's playable. They showed her
No, I meant
character
like
model and
Heihachi's
everything.
wife was playable,
Yeah,
but she was still
yeah.
dead in the canon,
I mean,
but she only was in the flashback.
Oh, I see. I see.
I assume she'll actually be part of the story because. Well,
Yeah, from the trailers,
it's hard
does-
to assume anything because they are. I mean, I still posit that Kazumi was meant to come back from the dead in Tekken 7, but they gave her a role in the story to Akuma because the plot makes way more sense that way. If with Kazumi instead of Akuma, but I'm sure they'll bring June back properly. Be really weird if they didn't. But the point is, Harada described her as Kazuya Mishima's wife. They had a one-night stand. That
How
was
dare
it.
you.
Interesting.
That's how Jin was
Interesting.
conceived because she hadn't met him until Tekken 2.
Yeah.
Unless Harada's going off the OVA where they met his kids. She hadn't met him until Tekken 2, and by the end of Tekken 2, he's dead. So they could, unless they like eloped secretly very quickly during the tournament, or perhaps another theory I've got is that they're going to pull a Tekken 7 and go, secretly the whole time.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Just after Kazuya came back from the dead, after Tekken 2, he found, after Tekken 3, he found June. She was alive, but had amnesia. And so he took her in, secretly married her, and he's been holding on to her to use her as a weapon against Jin. And why he didn't use her in Tekken 4 and 5 when he's going up against Jin then, will not explain. They won't even address. They won't mention it. It won't come up. Just like how they tried to make Heihachi into this sympathetic character in Tekken 7 by, he had to kill his wife because she tried to kill him. He had no choice. And it's like, I feel so sorry for him. But why did he shoot his grandson in the face?
Because
He's
his
gonna
grandson
ignore
was
that?
evil. His grandson had the blood, the devil. See, look how bad Kazuya is right now, huh? That's why I shot him that time. Okay, that's why. Not because I was an asshole who thought my son was too weak. No, but it was all planned.
Yeah, I just want it on the record that if they do pull some stupid bullshit and say that June was alive, was alive, and Kazuya found her and they got married after Tekken 3, I want on the record.
You called it out.
I fucking called it.
You called it.
Because I hope that's not the case, but I kind of hope it is because it's so dumb. But I do want Tekken's story to be good again because it's not been good for a while.
So Nick, I have to ask though, would you be more angry with a retcon like that at least has some background and story to it? Or would you be more angry if for like 90% of the game, June does only exist in Jin's mind and she's the one that like pulls him out of the depths of like the devil genes fighting for control over him, and then suddenly
mind?
out of nowhere, well, only in his mind, but then suddenly out of nowhere towards the end of the story, she just is there, and they don't explain it. It's like a mystical thing where it's like, you're here, and she goes, I was always here, Jin. Some stupid shit like that, and then she fights like the villain. Would that make you more or less upset if she shows up with like anime bullshit that's never explained? Or if they actually did fake flashback and fake like retconning where like it puts her there artificially?
I feel like they're more likely to do both, to be quite honest.
Look, I hit us with a double. She's going to show up with anime bullshit and then have a flashback story arc. Oh, no.
Okay, I don't want to get into Tekken too much because we'll have our Tekken Bloodline discussion eventually. But I want
to do that.
I want to ask this though. When did you think Tekken like had bad story? Like which game was it when you started to think it had bad story? Or like Gold
6.
So the sixth one, the one with Lars, right? Is that the one where you have like the story mode with the robot girl, and then you fight that?
Yeah,
That's when you started thinking it sucks, right?
Yeah, Tekken 6, because I'm planning to waste the potential on this at some point, but because 6 is all about Kazuya and Jin going to war. The whole world is dragged into their war. So many characters' bios are about going after one of those two, either to stop the war or for personal reasons. All these characters have got reasons to go after one of them. A bunch of characters are working for them. Everything's building up to this final clash between the two. And then they bring out a new version that gets ported to consoles, and this random like Swedish guy or whatever with amnesia and fucking Dragon Ball Z hair.
Yep.
He shows up and he's like, "Oh, I'm actually Heihachi's illegitimate son."
Who cares?
And now I'm going, and which don't even amount to anything. Yeah. And he just fights Kazuya, and Kazuya loses, and he's like, "All right, I'm leaving," and he walks off. And then Lars fights Jin, and then wouldn't you know it? After that fight, Nina just shows up and explains Jin's entire thing. She don't explain it to anyone else, just Lars. Oh god, I fucking hate it.
Oh wait, I got a question. Isn't there a Tekken tournament also in 6, but it's just not mentioned at all because of the story?
Yeah, it's used to give characters who aren't relevant something to do. 7 does the same thing. Like Seven's just like, Heihachi's like, I'm going to host a tournament, and Nina's like, now during all this, like, and it's like part of my plan. And then like,
not mentioned at all. The tournament.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't come up again. No, I think he says cancel the tournament.
I think so. Yeah.
And then the tournament happens anyway. And I guess while he's fighting Kazuya and getting thrown into a volcano.
And in that case, I'm very happy because I like the story up to 5. And when 6 happened, I was like going on like, what fucking bullshit is? I don't care about this new character. I want what's going on in the Tekken and all the characters stuff like that. Why do you have like
I hate
Lars
it too
and
for
robot
a
shenanigans?
different reason. The reason I hate everything from 6 onward is because it's when the writer or writers, whatever, stopped giving a shit about everyone else's progression as a character, and they just became all side or joke characters. Paul used to be an actual fucking character, and now he's just joke character.
He's at
and
least
same
back
with,
in the
like,
new game, though, so we'll see where that goes.
Yeah,
he's going to be in every game. He's got a Karen cut, though, man. They gave him that Karen cut, like, super
He's
hard. It's
old.
supposed to be a Tekken 4 reference, but it looks terrible.
For anyone who doesn't know, Paul, when it started out, he was Kazuya's rival. He fought into a standstill. He was a big deal, but then around Tekken
4 or
5,
5?
it's become a joke. So he's become a joke, and now and like there's an entire ending where it's like he schemes in 6 to plot to win the tournament by working with his friend Law, and then the ending is they get to the final round and like they go to attack each other, like to fight, and then Paul punches Law in the dick and Law kicks him in the face, and they both go down.
Yeah,
no.
Paul is the anti or the opposite of Ken, where Ken does seem like he's getting some pretty cool treatments in the newest game, and Paul is just like, eh.
It's funny, Huarang got the same treatment as Paul, because Huarang is supposed to be Jin's equal, because they fought to a standstill, but no one knows that.
He's even to the point where both characters are bikers who have a leather biker outfit and the classic gi. So he's very much the Paul of the new generation, but Paul is still around.
Paul is still around. That's a good way to put it.
But I'll say at least Paul has those comedic bits that make him stand out. What the fuck has Huarang done since like Tekken 5 when Jin blew up his motorbike?
He's rescued Jin in the desert. That's it.
Yeah.
And he's lost an eye, I guess, because he has an eye patch now.
I completely forgot about that. But
gotta make him look different somehow. Is it time to segue into our next topic?
Let's segue into MK12 because that's Game Awards have finally ended. Congratulations, we are done with that. Yeah,
that reveal was fucking sick, yo. That MK12 reveal, I fucking lost my pants. I still haven't found them. That was fucking crazy.
I cannot believe they actually showed Reptile's nipples like gushing out milk. Yeah, just like Shonen Dog predicted.
Truly for the people.
It's amazing.
Truly, they've turned over a new leaf. They made it for the people, gave us what we wanted. When Melina fucking jumped up on stage and said, "It's Melina time," I fucking lost it. Definitely a moment in history. It was pretty great.
No. I think you're misremembering. I believe it was not Melina. It was Ferret and Tor, and Ferret said Ferret Torbin time.
That's such a mouthful. I think Torbin time sounds a little.
I mean, to be fair, Khan would make sense. Like, it's conning time because he's an emperor. But I think Cage makes the most sense because it'd be something he'd actually cheesily say, like, it's Cajun time.
They're gonna do that. They're going to do that in the next game.
Johnny Cage is a Cajun.
The Cajun Cage.
And he just sounds like Gambit from X-Men.
Oh, yeah. You mean like terrible Cajun? Because it's not even close? Yeah. I saw a girl point that out. I never noticed it because I was a
I'm
dumb
gonna
kid.
punch you in
she's
the
like,
fucking balls, mon ami.
she's like, is he supposed to be Cajun? I'm like, supposed to be. He is Cajun. She's like, he sounds terrible. I'm like, it was like the 90s. They didn't really try.
It's a different era of voice acting back in the day.
Oh yeah, and then you take it a step further, and Sonya now has like a deep Southern accent like Rogue, because she is from Texas.
That'd be kind of fun.
To be fair, even in the comics, like they make it very clear that she has a very thick accent because they spell her words wrong to get across that she has that thick accent. Yeah. Which is pretty funny.
So I'm more interested in like how you guys are feeling about this whole situation, because I felt like every MK creator had a meltdown when Ed Boon tweeted saying, "Thanks for anticipating our game, but we are literally not going to show anything at the Game Awards. Sorry." So, and like, yeah, how do you guys handle that? I'm kind of curious.
Snake can go first.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about it really. It's like, well, I mean, I think it's lame that for the 30th anniversary, all we've gotten was an animated movie, which admittedly was pretty decent.
It doesn't even really count as a 30th anniversary. They barely even mention it as a 30th anniversary.
And we got someone edited together a video. There was that piece of artwork, and then that bundle. There's that bundle with MK11 and 2021, which like no one's gonna buy.
Yeah.
Because if you cared at all, you'd already have them. These products are years old, and also Onslaught, which got announced and then leaked, and like we don't even have the game properly yet. Like, really? Why not just at least release that before the year's end? Just so there's something for the 30th anniversary.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, y'all have already heard my rant on Twitter and stuff because I understand why NetherRealm does things the way they do, but it is still so frustrating that they could easily spoon feed us something and they don't. Like, it wouldn't be hard. They could just show like just MK12 logo and it would have been fine. It would have got everybody excited. Everyone would have been talking about it. But I can't get too mad, I guess, because Ed Boon's at least giving us the Q&A sessions that he does. And that gives me something to make content on. Otherwise, man, I'm fucking starving out here. Like, there's nothing.
Ed Boon is so much more active recently. It's kind of fun just to see, like, what's he been doing. I actually somewhat agree and disagree with you, True Underdog, because, like, there is another rant that's going on that are saying, like, there are companies that announce their games, and they don't come out for, like, 5 or 6 years. And it's just like, why? Like, why even have that announcement?
Obviously, that wouldn't happen, though. Like, they wouldn't do that. There's an in-between here. There's a healthy in-between. Because, I mean, NetherRealm being the company that's known for making a game every year or 2 years, you know, so I doubt they'd have a huge, like, 6-year gap in between games or something. And it's a fighting game, which admittedly, it has some hurdles, but there's got to be far less than a game like Cyberpunk or, you know, what other game got delayed? That one game kept getting delayed, and I think it finally came out. Forspoken kept getting delayed. Like, those games having technical hurdles, I get. A fighting game can't be too hard to fix bugs in and stuff. So,
I mean, I think the takeaway is that a fighting game can't be that hard. So there must be a good reason why they've not at least shown a logo or something, and that's because it's not MK12, it's Shaolin Monks 2.
Oh my god. No, don't do it. Don't curse us like that. Don't put that into the ether.
I think Shaolin Monks
that would do better for Snake's channel, though. He has so much lore to talk about.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, I guess I'll have a hot take because I'm similar to Snake, but I'll take it a step further. I'm somewhat happy they didn't announce anything, at least for the Game Awards recently. But that's more because, at least for my channel, I have content, so I'm doing pretty decent for like what I can do. It's like
la-di-ta-da. Look who's not starving. See, it's my fault because I've become the channel that releases a video like 3 times a week, so I kind of have to like release stuff. So I need to keep like scrounging for more things. I've debated and pondered the idea of only posting twice or even once a week because there's just nothing to talk about, and I will genuinely run out of content if I keep going at the pace I'm going. Or go ahead.
Well, one thing you could, if you consider trying like doing less MK stuff, maybe talk about some other fighting games.
Well, he has been doing Street Fighter stuff, and I think you made a reaction.
I'm trying to slowly break into the Street Fighter market, it's proving very difficult. Like very
Yeah.
little of my audience is interested in Street Fighter 6.
same.
And even less, and to be fair though, very few people at all, unfortunately, seem to be interested in Street Fighter 6 at the moment because there's just not a lot of new stuff. It's the same stuff. So even though you're showing gameplay, even like Street Fighter centric channels are not getting that many views when they post like gameplay of Street Fighter 6 because everyone's already seen it. So it's a double whammy. I'm getting hit by both of those things. I'm spit roasted by bad luck here at each end. But I think that like we'll be okay. We'll always have something to talk about. There'll be some way to make content. I'll find a way. As someone once said, they put it out there and now like I've taken it in a good way. Someone like on Reddit was talking shit about me like 2 years ago or something.
Okay.
And they were like, oh my God, I didn't know he still makes content. And it's like, I know, right? He's the cockroach that just won't go away. And I'm like, damn right, bitch. I'm the
Hell
cockroach
yeah.
that won't go away. I'll
I
always
know
find
what-
a way to make content.
I know what the renaissance for your channel is going to be is that when Street Fighter comes out, you'll make tutorials on how to make MK characters in Street Fighter 6.
Hey! That's right. That's right. Oh, I love the
I've already
customization.
So funny fact actually, since we're talking about that, believe it or not, I did have a video planned where I was going to play Tekken, but I was going to use mods that made the characters all Mortal Kombat characters,
Oh,
and I was going
sick.
to use that as a framework to show what a fully realized 3D Mortal
3D.
Kombat game could look like. Yeah.
Cool,
And
cool.
unfortunately, the assholes that make the mods, some of the mods are tied to item pieces that you only can get if you buy the DLC, and it's specifically DLC that you can't have unless you buy the entire Season 2 pass, because it was one of the additional things that comes with the whole Season 2 bundle. You can't get it separate. So
that
I just
sucks.
can't use that mod. And I'm like, how can you be a modder, do all that work to make a cool looking outfit with all the effects and even the voices are different, but you attach it to something that most of us can't even use? Like, how stupid of a bonehead move was that? Like, it could have been any gear piece and you chose that one. So I can't use it. And multiple people did it. Like, there's like 2 or 3 costumes I can't use because different modders all attached it to the same one, which means even if I did want to make that video, I'd have to uninstall the mod for one of the videos and then install a different mod for like the other video, because it's just they don't work together. They're not simpatico. So that was really dumb. But that was one idea that I had. But no, for Street Fighter 6, what I'll probably do, I'd try to revive the Terrific or Terrible series, but with Street Fighter. Do y'all not remember? That was like my most banger series. It got
Would you
the
like
most
to
views. It
explain
was
to
my-
our fans who have no idea what you're talking about what this terrific series is?
My
Yes.
Terrific or Terrible was a much better, because when I first started the guides for Mortal Kombat 11, they did fine, but they weren't hitting that level I wanted. I wanted it to go extra viral, so I made the Terrific or Terrible series, which started off just being terrible. It was how terrible is blank, and I would like do a video where someone recommends a character and says, yo, can you play this character? I think they're garbage. Like, I was messing with them. Like, they seem really bad.
okay.
And I was like, okay, well, as someone who's made a guide for every single character in, like, every NetherRealm game, let me go and look at them and see if they're actually trash or not. And the video is me talking about why they're good or why they're bad. And I call it How Terrible Is Blank. But then when the DLC started coming, or when I ran out of bad characters, I had to change it to, like, a positive. So I went, How Terrific Is Blank. And people were like, terrific? That's the adjective you went with? And I'm like, yeah, because it still looks like terrible. So people will recognize the title, but like then be like, oh wait, it's different. So I chose a word that's very similar to terrible, so it keeps that kind of like,
That's
theme
interesting.
going. And then for DLC, it became terrific or terrible, because like I didn't know yet, because they're DLC. I can't say if they're good or bad when I first play them because there's not enough time, So that was the idea, is like we get a general idea of how they play, but we can't tell for sure if they're good or bad. And for some of them, I was straight up wrong. Like, I thought that one of the characters would be really bad, and they ended up being good. I thought one character was going to be really good. They ended up being super average. So I'm not always right, but that's the fun of, like, the series. And the reason it did so well is because every thumbnail looks the exact same, but just changes the character. And I put these big, dumb, googly eyes on them. Like, they're like, like they're scared.
Okay. I know the
Yeah.
one. They're looking to one side, kind of googly eyes.
Yeah. And that became very famous.
That's
It did so
interesting.
well that my YouTube partner actually, apparently, according to him, he told me, like, just so you know, I did a seminar recently where I talked to people about how to advertise videos correctly. And for my segment on coherent thumbnails that have a trend but are different enough, I used yours because it went viral every single time you made those videos. And I'm like,
Wow.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate being recognized.
What is interesting though is that nowadays you're doing like the most blah 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 characters. So like, would you want to continue
Yeah.
that, or would you want to do the terrific or terrible, bring that back?
I'll definitely try it. I'm hoping that like the reason Street Fighter is not popular right now is because one, it's not an open beta, so not many players have their hands on it, so they're not as excited to like watch gameplay. And also the game itself just isn't out yet. I imagine when the game finally releases, there'll be an even bigger audience and like a bigger demand for watching guides and stuff. Because I've already mastered how to play like every character except for Jamie, so that's already like 5 guides ready. Because I already know how to play them. So that could be interesting to just tell people, like, hey, here's how the character plays. Like, here's a basic rundown. Though I should probably find a way to make it fun because I always appreciate when people make guides that are like really funny and like interesting.
Yes.
One of the best guides that I ever watched for a character that was actually informative but super fucking funny and goofy was Jeff the Hero's Zero to Hero guide for Cammy. That was genuinely just a great guide but stupid fucking funny. Yeah.
I think I remember seeing.
He even included the voice actress for Cammy for one part.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
So Snake, what were you gonna say?
Yeah. Well, I think what Dog really needs is for them to make Injustice 3,
Sure.
or MK vs DCU 2, one of the two, and that one of the characters they include is Mr. Terrific.
Oh,
And then Dog put out a video, the most terrific character in a NetherRealm fighting game.
There you go. How terrific is Mr. Terrific is what I thut you were going to say.
that works too.
That
yeah.
also
That
works,
works too. Yeah.
You can just stick to one branding, or you can amalgamate the two. The choice is yours.
The reason I said "oh no" at first is because of how Mr.
That's
Terrific
pretty
like
swag
infamously
there.
replaced Flash in the Injustice movie.
That
Yeah,
is a
I mean,
really
I'd be
nice
okay with
looking
either. I know we're not gonna get Injustice 3, but if we did, the one positive would be that it would probably have Kevin Conroy in it as like his last game, because they would have been already working on it. But it's definitely not
Yeah,
the case. I'm
sadly.
still like 90% positive it's Mortal Kombat for the next game, which is weird because they're so damn late. And one more thing I wanted to add that I forgot to, but I remembered. I would have been less disappointed when I saw the tweet that we weren't getting anything at the Game Awards if they hadn't started doing that countdown bullshit. That made me think something was actually coming when they kept doing that countdown. But, oh well.
I kind of. What was the countdown? I don't really remember.
They would post a Mortal Kombat game and be like, this came out on blank, and it was very clear, like, this is a 10, this is a 9, this is an 8, like in the
remember that, yeah.
posts.
I did not know.
And
that
it
was
made
a
it seem like we were
countdown.
getting something soon. And
what was the
yeah.
countdown to though? Was it just Ed saying?
I think it's still going.
Oh, well, I guess we'll see where that goes then.
He better not release anything in January because I plan on going like on a mini vacation in January because that's like when YouTube makes no money. So
The yeah, so like for me coming up, because even though there's no MK12, it now that doesn't really like hurt my schedule because I'm working on a Snowblind video, and after that I'm gonna go on my MK9 journey, and I'm gonna go through the story mode, and then I have some gameplay stuff planned, and that's a video that many of my fans want to see. So I think so, and then after that I have like options. I could maybe Onslaught will come out, so I got that, and maybe I really want to do Annihilation, and then I could also not do MK, do something Injustice or something like that. So like, I have a lot of things like piled up. So MK12 would have been more of an inconvenience for me in terms of if that comes out. So that's why I understand. I understand a lot of people like really want it to come out and like and stuff. So I get that. I know I'm saying that more as like in a privileged situation over here.
I mean, we're all pretty privileged because even though I bitch about not getting Mortal Kombat stuff for a while, I know channels that are just Street Fighter channels, and they've had it the roughest because Street Fighter 5 has been all they've had for like the past 10 years. Like, they haven't had anything to talk about. They haven't gotten any movies. They haven't gotten any spin-offs or anything. So they've been the ones that were struggling the most until very recently when Street Fighter 6 started giving stuff. So I can't complain too much. I've watched channels that were my competitor. Like, I've had channels that were my rival, but they made Street Fighter content, and they're like not even close to me now because they've been killed by the lack of Street Fighter content.
Interesting.
Like, it's just sad. Like, they've been killed.
Yeah, unironically, like Mortal Kombat might be the biggest fighting game. Might like who knows?
Yeah, if not for Smash Ultimate.
At least in English-speaking
Yes,
language
yes.
countries. I think if it was like a Japanese YouTube, you'd have a better shot with like Street Fighter.
Oh,
Guilty Gear.
interesting. I never thought about that.
Guilty Gear is pretty
Ooh,
popular.
yeah,
there, right?
that'd be a big one. Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Guilty
Smash
Gear
is.
was
all
doing
Blaze
Guilty.
Blade.
You know what? Smash is the biggest one still. I would say. Well,
Smash is the biggest fighting game, period, because even Americans, that one guy, until he came out as a a pedo or like a maybe not.
Which
yeah, he
one?
was a
Which
pedo.
one?
Which one?
Which
Yeah.
one?
Which one?
I mean, I feel bad bringing it up again because I'm sure he's just trying to like, live his normal life now. But
It's like-
it was the Zero guy, I think. Wasn't his name
Okay.
Zero or something? He had the biggest fighting game channel on YouTube out of nowhere because he was already the best Smash player in the world,
I
and
think
he
he
was
just got
admittedly
1 million subscribers before it happened, right? Like
yeah,
that
he was
moment.
admittedly very entertaining, and like his videos were good. Like they were done well. I looked to his videos for how I could improve my own with like gameplay and stuff, and then out of nowhere, just like damn, turns out he's got that horrible skeleton in his closet that everyone knows now, and he's just done now. He can't ever return, which is good. You shouldn't be allowed to, but I just think it's unfortunate that he was such a great example. I wanted to make a video about before all that shit went down. I wanted to make a video about how like he showed up and just took the #1 spot. So it proves that like anyone can be #1 on YouTube if you have the right formula and the right discipline and commitment. Like you can do it because he showed up and then just like passed Maximilian dude like pretty quickly. So I was like, damn, he's gonna be #1.
Yeah, I actually really used to like him too. Like,
it's
like
unfortunate.
he's the reason why I really wanted to buy a Switch just to get Ultimate and stuff. So yeah, it's like back in 2018, I used to watch him a lot. So that's a big, too bad situation there.
Like I've said before, guys, when you have a genre that's filled with kids that like the medium too, there's bound to be a lot of those people, unfortunately, because they're either people that never grew up or they're people that use that medium to get to what they want. So neither one is good, but there we are.
Anyways, so speaking of Mortal Kombat, we can actually get onto
Speaking of kids, this next segment. No, speaking of Mortal Kombat.
the we had another topic about Mortal Kombat we did want to kind of like chat about.
Did we?
What do you mean, do we look at it.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, the Cold War Skarlet. I'm the one dropping the ball on that
Jeez.
one. So yeah, Mortal Kombat 11 had a very out of nowhere update, and
Yeah, what
everybody was
happened?
scrambling to figure out what it was. And there was a lot of things that they did, but for a while it was fun to like see everyone scrambling, including the Thinny, who is like the most famous data miner that we have in the MK community. He showed that like some animations have changed in story mode, which is kind of weird. There was
story
some
mode?
well, there's like some new files that showed up in story
Okay.
mode, like for cutscenes and stuff. Like, but it's very hard to tell what it is exactly yet. He doesn't have screenshots, but he has like the actual images that show they've been changed in the files somehow. And then there's like some there's some other stuff that I didn't understand at all, where it showed like just like lines. There's like segments. You know how sequences look when you're editing a video, like in Premiere? Those files are in the game too, and they've been changed also. So that's weird. Like
okay.
sequences have changed.
I hope they
But
finally
that's not what anyone-
changed
no one
the,
gives
the
a shit.
reasoning why that Tarkatan got pushed into the acid pool finally. I hope they did something for that.
Just I would be so happy if like a very crappy, like, you know how Toasty comes into frame? It's like a cutout of someone's hand just goes whoop and just like pushes him like into the acid. Like I would love that. Just admit the joke, like own it. Like how Star Wars owned the trooper hitting his head and added the bonk
And
in
added the
later
bonk
releases.
sound,
Like
yeah,
just
yeah.
own it. Yeah, just own up the fucking bullshit. Or add a little whoop, like a slip sound effect so he slips and falls into the
Or a little wind effect as if Fujin's doing it.
yeah, something.
It was him the whole time.
Please, something.
The issue, yeah, something like that. So what the actual big change they made though on top of that is apparently NetherRealm said they changed how the store works. So hopefully now in the
Okay.
store you'll actually get stuff, like you'll actually get what you want from the
Get
store in Mortal Kombat 11, which never cycled. For anyone like wondering what the issue was, it always had the same like 5 or 10 things in there. It never actually cycled through all the content. So if you wanted a specific thing, you could log in every day and you would never see it in the store because it's
Yeah.
just never going to be there.
Please give it easier for us to get maskless characters. Come on now.
Another funny thing that some people are excited about is they've incorporated ads into Mortal Kombat 11. So now when
Why
you
is-
log in that empty space in the top, it just has an advertisement for Ultimate MK11. But people are theorizing they're going to use that to advertise like MK12
future
at some
games.
point. Yeah, like so you can buy it from the.
Okay.
Because same thing with Injustice 2. You can buy like MK11 from Injustice 2 or something like that. Like they added like advertisements to it. So same
very
thing.
cute.
That's another update they added.
If they were smart, they would have a stage that's the street stage in MK9 or the Subway where you have like ads in the background like for Ninja Mime and stuff like that. If they were smart, they'd have a stage like that and it's ads for the newest NetherRealm products. Like here's an ad now for like the new movie MK 2021 2
They can-
or the new or Cage Match. There's little ads for those.
They can play the newest 2021 trailer like in the arcade like stage where in the background it's just playing. You see Cole Young reveal when you're doing fatalities and stuff.
That you make a dedicated Johnny Cage his home cinema as a stage, and so you can play the trailers in the background while the characters are fighting.
Literally fighting behind a green screen or something.
And they just have all these gameplay footage coming out of like, people fighting, and they're supposed to stop fighting so they can watch the trailer. It's like,
You're both wrong. What NetherRealm needs to do, what would be the actual smart play, is they pull a Rise of Skywalker and they put the first announcement in Fortnite, and that's how you learn that MK12 is coming.
That's right.
It's just in Fortnite somehow. They just shove it in there somehow.
The Fire God speaks.
It would be super cool if they did subliminal shit. Like maybe you play Mortal Kombat 11, and on the Shao Kahn Coliseum stage, in the background, one of the people in the audience just has a sign with a date on it. And if you zoom in really close, it like has like a date. It's like 4 dot whatever, and you're like,
you've put a terrible image in my head of some announcement relating to the plot of MK12 in Fortnite, and then MK12 comes out, and it opens with Johnny Cage looking at the camera and saying, "Somehow Chronica's returned."
They cannot do that so soon. I say that, knock on wood.
oh my god, even better, Chronica returns, but it's Dragon Ball Z with like Cyborg Frieza. She's just got fucking robot parts.
Robot.
She's like put back together.
Golden Chronica.
Yeah. Oh no, even worse. She has a new form. No.
No, wait. Didn't Frieza get like a black form recently?
Yeah, Black Frieza.
Black Chronica.
She shows up and defeats Fire God Liu Kang and Cetrion in one foul swoop and goes, "What bitches?"
This is Dragon Ball.
Wait a minute.
She's gonna be called Chronica Black. She's gonna be called Chronica Black, just like Goku Black.
Wait, hang on. So by Dragon Ball standards, where Frieza Black is more powerful than the other ones, shouldn't Bi-Han be stronger as Noob Saibot when he turned black?
I mean, I always assumed that was like what it was supposed to be anyway, but in NetherRealm games, villains can't ever be tough, so we don't get to have
Revenants
that.
get weaker or something. Yeah.
That's
Not just them, man. Any villain is like a joke, and the only person that had any steam for him was Shao Kahn and Sindel, and they both lost it too, because Shao Kahn didn't have any steam in MK11. He got like rolled up on by everybody.
Until Aftermath.
Until Aftermath, where they actively like tried to undo that, but it, like Snake has pointed out, it makes no sense because they never gave any reason for why he's suddenly stronger. It's just a walk back of him not being weak, because it's a dumb decision to make him weak from like a writing standpoint. So they finally walked it back.
The reason why is because he never faced Kodokan or Katana again. So that's why he can beat everyone else.
Yes, so that's why Sindel fights Katana, because she's tougher than Khan. So she's fighting Katana, because she knows that Khan can't take her, so she's gonna do it, and he can fight the weak monk Liu Kang.
Have you seen my tier list video where I go over like every single character who's defeated who? It's like, okay, here's like F and D tier are like half the roster, and it's just like 1 or 2 characters up. So it's like Shao Kahn is like stronger than Liu Kang, and then Katana, and then Sindel.
And Shiva is like the queen of all, because Shiva keeps beating everybody.
Yeah, Shiva too. Shiva beat Katana, so technically speaking, she's even stronger than Shao Kahn. Yeah, that's a pretty cool medieval design for those characters.
Yeah, I was laughing at the Batman one. So the Catwoman one's actually pretty good, though. No one in our chat can see it unless, like, Sonic puts it on screen right now. But I just found, like, I was looking for armored Batman and armored Catwoman, and this came up. So
don't worry. Every time you put something there, I do show it in the video. Like, you can see it down there.
You're such a good editor.
Over there.
We love you. We appreciate you.
The images, yeah. Actually, speaking of things I added into the video, just in the most recent episode, when we were on our break and we came back, True Underdog, you didn't start recording, but we already had like a topic starting. So you have text to speech like robot sounds for like about 10 seconds throughout that video.
Robo dog.
It's really fun. I had to like interpret what you would say during that time. And also like that episode was the one where we're going to talk about our favorite characters, but we don't talk about it for 2 hours. So at the very end of the first episode, I then like pop up with the text-to-speech saying, we then begin to talk about our favorite characters in Mortal Kombat for 2 hours in the next episode. Sorry, end episode.
Sorry.
And then like I get a comment of someone saying, I just love how even like they get into so many tangents to the point where they can just never talk about the main topic at hand. And then someone replied,
We tried, goddammit.
with the exact opposite. I hate the fact that I watched 2 hours of this and I don't hear anything about their favorite characters in Mortal Kombat.
I hate this stuff just constantly Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat. But now it's time for the actual update that matters, right? This is like the meat and potatoes of this whole
I'm
thing,
very
right?
interested. That's a cute Catwoman costume.
That's the main one. It's from the Batman series. That's my absolute
one you were
favorite design for
talking
Catwoman.
about,
yeah.
She's so good.
I have a thing for big ears, so I like that design.
People have said though, the only issue is like to people who don't know who this is, it looks like a gender bend Batman because the big ears are easier to confuse for bat ears than cat ears, and I understand
Yeah.
that. It does look
Interesting.
Batman-y.
yeah,
Which,
that's what I was
it's
thinking
whatever
too.
it is. So yeah, now time for the actual important topic. So the biggest update, I think, to happen, which is still a very minor thing, all things considered, but NetherRealm actually made alterations to an existing skin in Mortal Kombat 11 for various reasons. But yeah, it was the Cold War Skarlet skin.
Aha.
So it has had any ties to Russia completely removed. It no longer bears the hammer and sickle anywhere on the costume. It's been
Well-
replaced by the generic Mortal Kombat logo.
Come on now, don't be that mean to the generic Mortal Kombat logo.
Well, it just feels weird because, like Snakes pointed out, Shao Kahn having the logo on his hammer makes no fucking sense because Shao Kahn hates the Mortal Kombat tournament. It's what keeps him from invading other realms. He does not like the Mortal Kombat tournament. And it's similar for Skarlet. She has no reason to don the MK logo because she doesn't like it either. She's the daughter of, she's the adopted daughter of Shao Kahn. Why would she like the Mortal Kombat logo? So they
It's the
clearly
Elder
just put
Gods
it there because they had
sponsorship
to.
logo. They got to put it on for the sponsorship of the Mortal Kombat tournament.
I see. So the Mortal Kombat is now Moonfall, where there's just random advertisements in there. Got it. So it makes no sense. They could just put like a random buckle there, and it would have been just fine. But it's not a big deal. No one's gonna care, really. It's such a small part
Yeah.
of the costume. But what's more annoying is that they didn't even keep the original color scheme. It's no longer red and yellow by
It's
default.
just red.
It's red and darker red. Yeah,
Oh,
they
there's even a
got rid of
secondary red?
because
Okay.
the Soviet Union flag with the hammer and sickle also has red and yellow. So she couldn't even have red and yellow for her color scheme. So that's unfortunate. The cool gold is gone from like her mask and shit.
I got a question. I remember it's the red one, but are the other colors changed too? Like the blue ones and stuff?
I think that the only changed are the ones that had any resemblance. Like maybe if another one had red and yellow, it'd be changed also. But the rest, from what I saw, were pretty much the same. And the reason they did this was twofold, right? The first reason that everybody thought, myself included, was like it's a virtue signal. Like, hey, we don't stand with Russia. We're getting rid of any like Russian ties.
That's
We
what
got to
you
make it
think,
clear that
yeah.
we don't support Russia. That could be a big part of it. But another big part of it is a lot of countries ban any game that has any communist symbols in it now. So like if you want to sell your game in those countries, you can't have hammer and sickle anywhere. You can't have any mention of communism. So they probably removed it for that reason also. But it's still weird because I seriously doubt that this late in the game, people are still buying Mortal Kombat 11. Like it's not that big of an issue. Apparently you also can't buy Mortal Kombat in Russia. Like Mortal Kombat 11 has been banned in Russia for a bit. I didn't know that. For the same reason, like because of the whole invasion and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I feel kind of bad only because I've heard that due to polls or from polls, at least like 1/4 of the population does not agree with what's happening, and they still can't buy Mortal Kombat 11, even if they're against the war. They still can't play the game.
It's a messy situation. Like many things are banned now in Russia and stuff like that. The interesting thing about you said about the symbolism things being banned in countries is I think it's also banned in Ukraine and even Japan. So technically speaking, Mortal Kombat 11 isn't even allowed in Japan because of, well, at least before the Scarlet change.
They haven't sold an MK game in Japan since I believe MK2.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's
And even then,
Some
even
games
then
have always
the
been
blood,
banned.
all the blood was green. They made the blood green for MK2 there for everyone, which I think is actually the debut of green blood in MK, the censored Japanese version.
Oh, that's cute.
So that's why the stuff that's come out since then, like just not been released in Japan at all. All they've gotten is, I guess, the movies.
MK9 was banned in Australia just because Australia's a bunch of pussies who can't handle blood, apparently.
To
so
be
it
fair,
was banned there
when
too.
MK9 when it just came out was like the biggest bloody game that like shocked probably a lot of people back then, I would imagine.
I guess so, but Gears of War
How
had you
quaint.
cutting guys in half with chainsaws and shit. So I mean, there's plenty of
was
gory
that allowed
games.
in Australia?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. A bunch of pussies
well,
down there.
from
You bunch of
what I
pussies, you
understand-
can't handle your fucking goal, can ya? Fucking Aussies.
What's going on?
No,
I'm just kidding. I love Australia. I'm just giving y'all a hard
because-
time.
Because when in the early days, have you watched Zero Punctuation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because early on, Yahtzee lived in Australia, so he brought this up a bunch of times. Like, I think he had to import MK when it was still illegal. But I think in the early 2010s, they finally got an adults-only rating in Australia.
Oh, okay.
But before then, you just couldn't sell these games at all. But so I think you can get them now.
I would
But
assume, yeah.
it's adults only.
I'm
But
curious
I think a big part of it was like one particular like government official or something, or like, that's what it seemed from Yahtzee's videos. That this one guy was such a huge pussy bitch that he wouldn't have it, and then eventually when he, I guess, left office, all the people stepped in and said, "Now we'll set something up."
Yeah, that's what I
Nice,
imagined
nice.
happened. I'm curious now if Australia is just the opposite of the US, where like the US is okay with anything gory, but you like show a nipple and it's like, oh my god, adults only. I wonder if like Australia is the opposite, where they're more open to sexual stuff, but just gore is a no-no.
I
Which
gotta
would
ask
make
a
more
question.
sense.
The national catchphrase of Australia is "can."
But I'm actually kind of
Oh.
interested about that topic because it is brought up a lot. It's like but it's like I don't. Can you find the opposite example? I mean, I'm sure you can't. Just is porn. But what I mean to say is like, I think in general it's like, people do view like gore and heads getting blasted off and getting shot as just more mundane. But nipple slips, what's that? Little genitalia? Oh, nope.
Yeah.
No. What's that?
Can't
Sex?
do that.
Sex? Taboo as fuck, dude. No way. How dare you? If there's if there's a sex scene that's completely covered up, or you never see any genitalia, it's like a not R-rated sex. That is a milestone. Like people celebrate for that shit alone in games.
And the funniest part is like even games like Devil May Cry 5 that have tons of gore and violence in them,
Yeah.
they couldn't even get away with the like barely not showing something. They had to add in the giant lens flare. Like Sony put in the giant like
Only
shine
on
to cover up
PlayStation.
more.
Only
Yeah.
on PlayStation. The other versions, I mean, I don't know what Japan's like for that, but other everywhere else, it's like Xbox, PC, fine. It's just the PlayStation version where it's like that.
To be fair, they
Japanese
don't have
media is
like
such a weird paradox of
bits
things because
anyways.
they allow so much nudity.
yeah. To be fair, there's no bits anyways, so it's like it's perfectly on the safe zone.
Unlike Aloy, to bring up Horizon Forbidden West again, she got full on titties for some reason in that game.
Oh.
Because Sony's massively hypocritical. Remember they had the on-screen sex scene in The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Like,
The one that
they're just-
nobody
they're
wanted, but it
terrible.
got memed so good. I love the memes.
Yeah.
Speaking of that meme,
Yeah.
I got something pretty
there a
interesting I
Sonic
wanted
one?
to share with you guys. So
Oh, you got a new version. Is it Sub-Zero and Kenshi?
so
Is it Shang Tsung and Kano?
no,
Scorpion?
because Snake made the suggestion. I think last time we were talking, I was talking because I showed you guys the Last of Us meme, and then Snake, you just made a suggestion to do this. So yeah, I just did.
The best part about it is that Scorpion has the mask, so we just get to imagine what his mouth expression looks like. But he looks so at peace in this image. Like he's like,
Yeah, I was fun fact about this image because I kind of was thinking to myself, when would I have time to draw this? So I was editing the last episode, and while editing it, I was just kind of playing your audio, and I was like, I might as well just draw the Last of Us meme right now. And so that's
"You're disgusting, Sonic. I'm out here doing Cammy's ass in great detail, but you're still more disgusting for having made this. You disgusting monster."
that's right. Good. You're working on your artworks, and I'm working on my degenerate works.
To go back to our topic, I suppose I forgot what I was gonna say because this damn art threw me off. Oh yeah, originally when you said The Last of Us, I thought you were gonna bring up some artwork of like you plowing Reptile, but it's your like avatar, your little Digimon dude, but he's giving Reptile the business.
Don't give him ideas, dog. What are you doing? I only do artwork that benefits my video, and and honestly, I don't even know where I
Yeah.
can put this in my video, but I should put it
Just
somewhere.
put, just make it the thumbnail. Just Snowblind sucks, and it's just this. Oh my god! But that was the one good thing to come out of. There were so many good memes to come out of Last of Us 2. So even though I hate
yeah.
it, I love all the memes that we got out of it. It's so special. But what I meant was, I don't know if y'all know this, but like we've mentioned it before. I think Aloy has full on titties in Horizon. If you like break the
Okay.
game, she has like actual fully modeled and textured nipples. It's hilarious. because there's no reason for that to be there. But
Wait,
it
so
just
is it not even in the game? It's just mod. Is there no like?
No,
sex-
in the game, someone broke the camera and found a way to have it clip. And when you clip the camera, it like goes through things. So with the little self-portrait thing, they found a way to spin the camera to where it clips through one of her costumes you can put on her, and it clips through the first layer, and you can see her like polygon mesh beneath it, and she has full-on like really well done titties. Like they're fully textured. She has the nipples and everything. Yeah.
So weird. It's
And
like
we have theories about it. My friend had a pretty good theory, like, and I had the same theory. We both believe that what happened was her body was a generic copy and paste from a different asset they own, like Killzone or some M-rated game they have that has titties in it, and that was their basis. And then someone just never took the titties away because there was no reason to like think you had to, because she never appears naked.
my
But,
theory
like, yeah.
would be
Yeah.
that like they had an R-rated scene or they had something, but they canceled
Aloy would never do that. She's so wooden.
Oh, what
Like,
I mean more is
Aloy-
like somehow her clothes get destroyed. You know, that kind of not like doesn't have to be sex.
That still wouldn't happen.
Clothing destruction to lead to like that kind of thing. That's more of a Japanese thing. And, if you
And
wanna go
also,
that far.
Guess so.
just because you all haven't played the game, just so y'all know, despite the what you would think about Horizon, its tone is shockingly E for everyone. Like, despite the game's rating, its
okay,
tone is
okay.
very, very E for everyone. There's like hardly any death in the game. There's like almost never a curse word. Like, it's a very clean game. Like, no one even has seen dating for the most part. Like, it's a very like, if not for the fact that there's like blood when you get attacked by monsters and stuff, there's like no, it's so childy. Like, it really is. It doesn't have any tension or like adult themes at all. So there's, again, like no reason for the titties to even like be there. They just are.
So
and it took
interesting,
the internet
yeah.
by storm for a bit. It was pretty funny. Like, everyone's like, but why though? And it's like,
But
yeah,
why?
that's the first response is like, but why? I'm glad it
It's like-
exists, but why?
It's like when Detroit, no, not Detroit, Beyond Two Souls turned out there was a model of the main character, like full on with
Yeah.
nipples and stuff.
Why am I not
Even though you never see
surprised?
them in the game, you see that in
Heavy Rain.
So it's entirely likely that they just copied Madison's nude model over, swapped the head out,
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
and then
yeah.
just and that was it.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is an actor you've signed on for this role and not disclose this information that you're gonna have this model.
Yeah. The good news is
That-
now,
that sh-
everybody. Yeah. You're right. You're right, because she was like scarred by that too a little bit, because she thought
Oh,
that someone
really?
did like actually model her titties in the game. Like, she was concerned about that. But I think Snake's theory is more likely. The good news is that 3D animators, having been one myself for a good while, typically we just make mistakes and don't leave inappropriate shit in on purpose, which is the opposite of what 2D animators used to do, which is they would sneak in the inappropriate stuff. Like, they would purposely put it in there and hope that you saw it or didn't see it just for funsies, because they were fucking hilarious like
It's
that.
only like one or two
But-
frames and stuff.
Yeah.
Jessica Rabbit.
The
Yeah,
classic.
yeah, Jessica
Everyone knows
Rabbit.
that one.
Actually, I
The
think
fucking
even like
porn.
Chun-Li
There's
and one of the
actual
animated
porn in
stuff.
Rescuers.
Wait,
Well, in the Rescuers Disney film, there's actual porn in one of the buildings when they go by on the train, but it's for less than a frame. And back then it was VHS tapes, so there's no way you could pause and actually see it. But now, because you have digital, you can go frame by frame. And in one of the windows, there's just straight up a sex porn image, like in one of the windows when they fly by. The Little
Rescue
Mermaid has a
what?
penis on the fucking box art. The Rescuers is what it's called, because The Rescuers Down Under is the sequel that everyone knows about.
is that
That's
the
like
one
the
with
famous
rats or
one.
something?
Yeah, the little mice.
Oh, I just remember watching that when I was a kid. Wow.
It's an underrated film. The first one's actually pretty good. I forgot how good the first movie is.
Interesting.
Very dark though, in a way, because like there's some very scary situations, like putting a little girl in this like cave underwater, and she could drown, but the villains don't care because her job is to get the jewels for them, and she's the only one who can fit. And there's like water coming in. She's like, I might drown. Like, get the jewels. And I'm like, that's so sad. That's remarkably dark for like a Disney film. But back then, Disney wasn't scared to be dark, which is kind of cool.
Interesting. Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, 80s, 90s time.
But yeah, so I wanted to go back to one last thing on Cold War Skarlet, because I think it's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
I want to know your thoughts on this. So I bring it up in my video, which is going to go live like in 2 hours from now.
Ooh.
Not from y'all watching the video, but 2 hours as we're recording this.
It's like
2
about
months prior
a
to
month from
Yeah.
now, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, but we just meme about that. We know that Sonic does the best he can. Like, it's not even his fault at all. We're both admittedly too lazy to even like edit the videos.
Yeah.
So basically, here's my thoughts. Skarlet is a villain. So having her don the Soviet symbols is not a bad reflection of NetherRealm, because they have the villain wearing it. So I don't see like what the issue is, because by that logic, then Call of Duty would be bad for having Nazis in a game about World War II. It's like, well, they're the Nazis. They would wear Nazi like clothing and stuff. So That's my feeling. Now, again, this is assuming they only did it to virtue signal. If they did it for legal reasons to have their games sold in different countries, then it's way more understandable. But knowing that like what NetherRealm's like on Twitter and stuff, and how they took away Johnny Cage's this symbol when he was doing the circle game on his hip, they took that out.
What?
So I wouldn't put it. You didn't know that?
From which game?
Sonic, you didn't know about that? MK11.
When he customizes his belt and he's doing that,
He does the circle game.
it was that originally.
Okay.
Yeah, originally. So do you have that game where you're at, Sonic, or not?
Not
Where, like,
right
there's
now.
this dumb game that we all played.
But I can look
No,
at
not
the
Mortal
clip.
Kombat. Well, no. What I mean is not Mortal Kombat. No, there's like a game that everyone played in high school and stuff, in middle school. It's called the Circle Game. Do y'all have it in the UK? Or
I am aware of it, so it's possible.
so basically, here's how the game works. So like, if anyone looks below your hip, you can do this symbol, and the joke is they're looking at your crotch. So the game was.
I know the trend because a couple years
Yeah.
ago it was a giant trend to be like, aha, you looked, yeah, and then like,
Yeah, so for anyone watching, just in case you don't know, like here's how the game works. If they look below your hips, you can catch them with the circle, and you can prove they looked at it because they always go, ah, shit. And then if they do that, you can punch them in the arm. It was like an excuse to hit somebody for staring at your crotch. And it was a dumb little immature game, but it was fun. It was a stupid, innocent, like high school game to make high school less boring than it already is. So Johnny Cage did that in Mortal Kombat 11 when it first came out. If you started his belt, he did that. And then when the camera panned back up, he was like, caught you looking, and he punched you. So it made perfect sense because that's how the game worked. But NetherRealm was like, oh no, some people think this is a symbol for white supremacy. Why? Because I have the 3 fingers pointing up, and that makes a W. Now, the funny thing about that...
Not only that, W and then like P, right? White power, basically.
Yeah, apparently. Look, this is not a P, it's an O at best.
That
But-
story is so funny. Like, the context
Yeah, for anyone not
behind
aware,
it.
that's a troll. There's actually no such thing as that. Reddit made that up. Like, more specifically, 4chan made that up. Yeah, just to
Yeah.
get everyone to, like, go with it. And now people think it's actually what it means, even though people have come out and said, guys, like, 4chan's even admitted that, like, they started as a joke and they caught you. But people still think that. And so the funny thing is, I don't know if NetherRealm thinks that it is, or they're just worried that some people think it is, so they took it out. But the
that's-
funniest part about the whole situation is now instead of the circle game, Johnny Cage just flips you off, which means that NetherRealm thinks that this is less offensive than this, which is fucking hilarious. Like it, so I wouldn't
Very
put it past them
interesting.
to have taken Skarlet. What I'm saying is, I wouldn't put it past them to just be virtue signaling when they changed Skarlet's outfit. I hope not, because if that's the idea, then they better go back and do it for every fucking game. Because when I researched it for the video, they've made almost 10 costumes that bear the hammer and sickle somewhere.
Yeah, they really
in the
like
past
that.
games.
I remember in Justice Gods Among Us, they have like Russian skins and stuff.
Because Red
Yeah,
Sun.
for Red Sun. And then that infected MK where we got Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Kano.
And X, right?
Well, not Kano.
Sonya.
I'm not sure if Kano was Russian, but it was similar kind of.
They're all
You have
Cold War. It
Sonya.
says Cold War pack. So, yeah.
I guess so.
That's what I was thinking too, because they love that kind of like design and skins throughout their games.
I
so-
thought it started as fan art, but I could be wrong. I think the Cold War Scorpion started off as fan art, but it looks so fucking cool that they were like, we're going to put that in the game and like credit the artist. And then it just became a trend to do like Cold War versions of like the characters. And the idea behind the characters isn't that they support Russia. The idea is they were born in Russia. So like they're born in the Soviet Union. That's the idea behind the Cold War like designs. So it's not like present day Scorpion is like I'm anti-Ukraine and I'm pro-Russia. That's not what it means. It's meant to be like they were born in that area during that time period. But whatever. No one can separate art from reality anymore. Everything's political.
The thing is,
Which means we're never gonna get Nazi Skarlet, son of a bitch. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, yeah, the thing is, I will say, like, I don't think we'll ever really know the true answer to this like question,
No.
and I think it's better left that way because now here's an interesting take. I will say when
For that, can I take a quick break?
yeah, what's up? Yeah,
Let me stop the recording that way.
baby. 2-0. Whoa, we actually put the headset like on at the same time.
Muted.
There you go. Yeah, no wonder. I was thinking like because you were talking, but no sound was coming out.
So did Dog finish his point after I left? Or
No, we actually all just left. So I was gonna add one little thing, and then we probably should get into our ultimate debate. Ultimate debate. You know, I was kind of thinking while walking, and I forgot who said it, but like, should my character be in the front or should Reptile be in the front? Like, I'm not too sure which one should be the one in the front or the back. And I was kind of like thinking about that a bit. I'm like, I don't know. No. It's not like I'm gonna draw it or anything. I just like just like a.
Would you rather bomb Reptile in the ass or be bombed down?
I don't know.
I'd rather you be bumming Reptile just because it's in character for Reptile to just take it, because he's just been getting his ass, destroyed in every single game. So it's fitting.
This is a very lovely conversation. Anyways, let me add. I wanted to add something here because NetherRealm did this once, and I thought it was kind of interesting. When the characters were revealed, and when it was very obvious that these the female characters are very obviously more covered up, it was like, okay, so we can see their intentions, we can see what's going on here. Yeah, let's talk about it, blah blah blah. But then they came out and talked about it, and they were like, yeah, we are intentionally desexualizing them. And that was like the blowing up point for people being like, oh, how dare you. That pissed off a lot more people. And in my opinion, I was just thinking, like, if they just kept their mouths shut, I felt like the situation wouldn't have like escalated that hugely. And
more specifically, Sonic, they didn't just say they were doing it on purpose. The worst part, like the final nail in that coffin, was they said, we're going to upset some fans with this, and I think that's okay.
Oh, really?
That was the bombshell.
I thought the bombshell was
really
that
stupid.
They said they wanted to do that because it would be more practical. I thought that was also one too.
That's dumb too, but at least that makes it like, oh, whatever. Because if that was their actual intention, then there should just be two types of costumes. You would have the practical one and the revealing ones. But the fact they said this is going to upset some players was what got me upset. Because I hate when people are anti-consumer. Because it's one of those things where if Mortal Kombat wasn't already famous, then you wouldn't be able to do that shit where you make things that people don't want. But because Mortal Kombat is so fucking popular, you can make dumb changes like that and still sell and pretend that you made a good choice. But I am curious to know, what are y'all's opinions on the Cold War skin being changed? Do you think it was needed? Do you think it was stupid? Or are you just kind of like, eh?
Like I said, it's very eh, and I hope we keep it as eh, because it's one of those things that's like, it's so small, like we are really grasping at straws nowadays when it comes to sometimes in media, in my opinion. It's just like, there comes to a point where I'm just like, I really don't want to care about this, but like if it becomes something to care about, it's like, all right, here we go again, kind of a thing. I don't think it's that big of a deal, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's such a minor thing, and it is dumb and worth not worth criticizing. It's worth having a laugh about, making fun of them for it. And that's silly and dumb. But if it really is about selling it in certain countries, like I understand, and like it's like, well, that it probably was the better decision to do that, because it's like this character has to be completely changed or removed in order to sell it in these countries. It's something significant. It's just this bonus costume for this character got changed.
Yeah, it's
not a big deal.
Oh no, I just answered my own question in my head though. I figured something out, you guys. So, you know the Spider-Man game on PS4?
Mm-hmm.
So it has the pride flag in it. It has the pride flag, right? Mm-hmm. Well, for versions of the game that are available. Yeah. But my point is, for countries that don't support like their politics, and don't just for countries in the Middle East mainly, right? Mm-hmm. There are versions of the game that don't have the pride flag, and like they made that version for those countries. So unfortunately, I have to assume that NetherRealm is semi-virtue signaling, because they could have made a specific version of the game for those countries, just like Insomniac did for Spider-Man, that just has the altered version of Skarlet. It didn't have to be done to every single version of the game. So I think we just unintentionally like answered our own question with that, because
that was the thing with a lot of World War II games in Germany, where you couldn't have swastikas in it, so that's why they would use the Iron Cross. I think that there are games that are releasing now that just have the Iron Cross everywhere, but I mean, like Wolfenstein had a bunch of...
The game's also online, so maybe if it's online, you have to make it a universal change, because otherwise if you played somebody in Russia or if you played somebody in Indonesia and I played you from America, I couldn't have the hammer and sickle on my costume. So you'd have to either change the costume, which is the easiest answer, or you'd have to have code. You could implement code that just makes it to where whenever you match with somebody in a different country, it changes it.
Well,
that's also
more
possible.
complicated, I guess.
It's more complicated, yeah.
It wouldn't be like that, would it? Because surely it would just be that the file labeled Scarlet Cold War Color 1, in the West it would be that version, then you'd have an altered version in the game files elsewhere. Like it wouldn't be just drawing on your game data It'd be drawn on its own.
Yeah. You know, I
I
don't
forgot
know.
to mention too.
I mean,
Good thing bringing that up, Snake. I forgot to mention something.
That's why compatibility packs exist for DLC costumes and stuff like DOA.
Well, fair enough then. This would have been more work though. Like Sonic was saying, it would have been more work. But good point, Snake. I wanted to bring one more thing up.
Okay.
One more change happened. Hold that thought. One more change happened. They changed the name of the skin. If you try to buy it or look it up, it's not called Cold War Skarlet. It's called Cold Skarlet. As in she's just cold, which I made a joke about in the video because she's not wearing any pants. She just has the trench coat. So the joke is she's actually cold because she's like exposed in the lower half.
That's why she covers herself up, because she's very cold.
Yeah.
Do you know who else is a very like wearing winter designs but not wearing any pants and a skirt?
Reptile?
No, it's one of Tronodog's favorite characters.
Oh, the Lin Kuei girl.
Yeah.
It makes more sense for them though because they're they're able to cryomance, so they don't get cold. I guess.
Well, I've heard that actually there is some rationale to the idea that in cold environments, like the legs aren't as much of a problem or something.
Oh.
You can adapt to the cold pretty easily. People just don't know that because we hate the cold so much. But it was not uncommon for English settlers when seeing the Native Americans, even during the coldest parts of American seasons, the natives didn't cover up very much. Like, you don't actually have to. You can endure way more cold than you think you can. It's just that it's very uncomfortable, and you have to get past that point. Like, you have to get used to it. But, like, people can swim in sub-zero waters and shit. Like, we can survive a lot of cold. We just don't like to.
In our country, I remember there was, like, a news article that was, like, it's, like, seriously cold right now, but why are some ladies just wearing shorts and stuff like that? And they're like, yeah, but we want to look good, and so what we do is we have like these warm packs and we put them in our like pockets so that way we can handle it more and stuff like that. So it is like around, I guess.
No, that's same here. Like, it's cold in Texas right now, and it's the same thing. Like, women will wear like big old hoodies, like they're cosplaying May from Guilty Gear Strive, like big old hoodies, but then just legs are completely uncovered because gotta show off the goods, gotta make sure I look cute, even though it's really fucking cold, and it just cracks me up.
So let me I don't know how we got to Fortnite so many times in this episode, but there was another example of censorship that I remembered that's kind of interesting. I don't know if it happened yet or not, but they were like, not that one. I know what you're talking about.
That was a funny one.
Not that one.
Yeah.
Not that bug that people.
Okay.
But the one.
It wasn't a bug. It was. I mean, they called it a bug, but it was definitely not originally a bug. Are you talking about the fucking the money scam fiasco?
No, that's recent. I'm talking about.
Sorry.
So apparently, like a couple months ago or something, they announced saying like they're gonna ban like undead or zombie skins in the game.
Oh yeah.
But it's not necessarily they're gonna ban them. It's more like in some countries you can't buy those, and if the other players were using them, they would just be default skins. So I just thought that was kind of interesting because you were also tying that into like the whole Cold War skins and stuff like that.
Well, because Snake brought up, it is totally possible, but I think that to be as charitable as possible, because even this like random guy I got in an argument with on Twitter, I don't like to assume people's rationale unless they actually say it, because like to me that feels scummy. So I'll give them the most charitable position possible, which is it's just easier to change the costume for everybody than to implement a code that replaces it during like, certain situations. So that could be possible. I will say one last thing though. The one area they overstepped, in my personal opinion, was changing the colors. Because there's no reason to get rid of the red and yellow, because Flash is red and yellow, your boy, like behind me, right? And my biggest issue, someone brought this up one time, and I only feel this way because I saw it in a Reddit thread, and it's a good point. This one person went on a little rant, didn't get very many upvotes, but they posted, I'm upset because ever since the classic skin came out for Jade, they took away all the purple effect gear pieces on the Witch DLC for Jade. So now when I wear the witch costume that I like the most, I don't get my purple effects on the staff anymore because they gave it to a different staff in the classic Jade costume, and for some reason it took away from the original. And they were upset about it, and people were kind of memeing on it. And finally, the poster responded and went, "Why are we laughing about this? I fucking spent money on it." And I'm like, yeah, good point. Like you spent money on what you think the product is, and then they retroactively changed it. So now I'm thinking, if you bought the Cold War skin because you love red and yellow, you've now been given the essential digital middle finger because you now just don't get to enjoy your favorite skin. That part is kind of bullshit.
Yeah, I agree
if I'm
with
being
that,
completely
honestly,
honest.
yeah.
That's the only place they overstepped, really. Like, change the little tiny logo shit, whatever. Call it Kold Skarlet. That's fucking funny as shit. It's still weird because Skarlet is a villain, so it should be completely okay to have the symbols. But if it's for legal reasons to sell it, fine. Still kind of weird because the game's been like dead for 2 years straight now. But it's still kind of weird. But I'll accept that as the reasoning, as a charitable viewpoint. But yeah, the color scheme should not have changed because people might love that and they spent money on it. Like, you can buy the Cold War skin originally, so like they spent money. Like, they deserve to have what they paid for. But it is what it is. And my only other fear too is like, I'm just being slippery slope theory here, which I know is silly sometimes, but it's been true a lot of the time. My only fear now is that because NetherRealm has shown they're not afraid to go back and change something that you already own. What if like 10 years from now they like decide, we're going to go back to this version of like Mortal Kombat X and remove all these costumes, or we're going to go to like MK11 and change these costumes, like, you know, because as things change, like certain things are acceptable or unacceptable. So what if they retroactively go back and change more shit? It makes a bit of a scary precedent that they could do it in the future. What if they decide,
What if they remove the guest characters once the licenses run out?
That'd be awesome.
That'd be interesting.
Oh my god, every Joker
so
player that's carried by Joker just doesn't get to have Joker anymore.
So funny. Like, has that happened before? I'm not too sure, actually.
They delisted MK9 when the Freddy license ran out, so MKX is probably not far behind.
Oh,
is that why it actually happened? Interesting. I thought they just didn't want to pay for like keeping it online or something. Okay, now I know. It's weird that Freddy has a license like that. He's such an unused character. He's one of the few characters that hasn't been ruined by a terrible reboot.
Yet.
Freddy, it wasn't he? He had one in 2009. That's why he's in MK9.
Oh, 2009.
No, but but that's still not very recent though to me. 2009. But I got you.
All right, boys, are you guys ready to get into the main meat of the topic? The main big ol' boogie boogie.
The girth.
Boogaloo.
We then talk about JoJo Part 6 for 2 hours in the next episode. I did not clickbait you guys this time. Don't be mad.